At the Okoli Law Group, we specialize in producing justice. If you or a loved one in the Atlanta metro area is facing serious criminal charges, then you need serious legal representation.
The Okoli Law Group is here for you. The Okoli Law Group is here for us.
The Okoli Law Group, serious legal representation.
Really love this brand because first off, the products are quality. I have amazing hydration. You guys can see the shine. You guys can see the definition.
Ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
And we are live again, Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Please do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button again. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. It really means a lot. I'm waiting for Mexican Condor. I already hit him up to let him know that we're live now. And I know he's in Central Standard Time. I told him 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully he didn't get the times mixed up. I hope he didn't, but he should be joining us shortly. But needless to say, I have a couple of announcements. Announcement number one, we are rolling to Sierra Leone next month. Again, we are rolling to Sierra Leone next month. November 25th through December 6th, November 25th through December 6th. If you're interested in joining us, please visit donfo.africa. Again, please visit donfo, DANFO.Africa. I will greatly appreciate it. We will love to have you all. We got a couple spots if you're last minute and if you just want to have a great time. Let me scoot up to this computer a little bit closer. If you want to have a great time in Sierra Leone, eat some good lobster, the best lobster, eat some good lobster, the one of my most favorite beaches. And guys, I'm back and forth, like I am torn between River Number 2 in Sierra Leone and Paje Beach. I believe it's called Paje Beach in Zanzibar in Tanzania. Like I'm torn in between those two beaches. Which beach is my favorite beach? But okay, he's in the chat room. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So he had an emergency. He's logging on soon. Had an emergency. Okay, cool. All right, we'll be here. So I'm trying to decide which beach is my most favorite beach, but I would say this. The best beaches overall, I'm going to say Zanzibar that I've been to. But my favorite beach, my most favorite beach is River Number 2 in Sierra Leone. There we go. In fact, I gotta put that up on Facebook real quick. Hold on. Let me add that to my timeline real quick. Hold on. Let me get back to my timeline. I gotta while it's on my mind. There we go. Here we go. the best beaches in Africa that I have visited so far is in Zanzibar. But my favorite beach in Africa is still River number 2 in Sierra Leone. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna post that. There we go. Okay, there we go. There we go. So that's shared. So yeah, so that's where I stand when it comes to the beaches. Best beaches, Zanzibar. My favorite beach, River number 2, Sierra Leone. There we go. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Guys, the beard is almost connecting. All right. The juices and berries are working. Again, the juices and berries are working. Okay. I told myself I'm going to give it 6 months. Okay. It's been a little bit over a month. Yeah. It's been a month. It's been a month since I started, the juices and berries and some other, trade secrets, not really secrets, but, So in 6 months, I plan on having a full beard. Okay. So y'all are going to laugh at my patchy beard right now. It's okay. We working on it. With that being said, Mexican Condor, he's in the waiting room. So I'm going to bring him on. The topic is Latino man explains why Latinos voted for Donald Trump. Let's get it from the horse's mouth on why he voted for Donald Trump. And, if you guys have any questions, you can ask questions. I'll put the link in the chat room. But if somebody said, put an S curl in my beard, no S curl in my beard. Mexican Condor, go ahead.
Oh, hey, Donis. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I do. I hear you loud and clear.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you for having me back on your show. I'm sorry, I'm kind of was scheduled to have everything set up for now, but got caught up in a last minute emergency, so I'm kind of juggling a bunch of different things at the same time. But in any case, I'm still here. So,
all right, no problem. Thank you, for still making it, because the question is, across social media coming from the Democratic side, and specifically when I say Democratic side, especially the Black, we're supposed to be this minority coalition. So from the Black side is the overwhelming support from Latinos for Donald Trump.
Well, you know what I have to say for that? I was expecting his support to grow, but I was just as surprised at how much more it grew over the last election. And there's a lot of factors that go into it, and we're just going to have to pluck this chicken one feather at a time. So well, let's start with the way the mainstream Democrat voters look at us. I mean, they're caught in this black and white context. Everything fits in the context of either white people and everyone else is a minority. But the fact of the matter is, you can't just lump us all into the same boat, because we all have different varied interests and come at from a different perspective. So and now you're starting to see that narrative fall apart. It's catching a lot of liberals by surprise, because they're just used to thinking in those terms. It's but in any case, yeah. So I think one of the biggest factors for Donald Trump was, the fact that he got shot, stood up, and roared and played to the crowd. I mean, what kind of person does that? What kind of people have that kind of capacity? So he demonstrated kind of machismo, kind of valor that. Well, I'm sorry, hon. I'm sorry. I'm sharing a cab with my wife, so.
Okay.
But and we have a difference of opinion, obviously. So
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, I'm sorry. You caught me with my pants down right now, and I should have been better prepared. But you know,
No problem.
life happens. Let's just say that.
All right.
But in any case, um, so, um, you know, first of all, I want to address, you know, you're probably going to get a few haters saying, okay, well, this is a black show. What does it have to do with Latinos? Well, you know, address that right off the bat. It's, you know, what we're going to have to coexist together. We're not going away. So, you know, we have to come to an understanding. I have to understand where you're coming from, and you have to understand where we're coming from, because, you know, we're going to factor in each other's lives, and you know, you can't get away from that. So, but I do have to say that Latinos really, really, I mean, they took that donkey out the back of the barn and really put, you know, clobbered it to death. And I don't think anyone was expecting that. So, and also with that being said, you know, I think there's a Kamala and the woke agenda did permanent damage to the Democratic Party. So,
Right. I agree.
yeah.
Now, Mexicano, when you say woke agenda, can you be specific? Like what?
Well, I think we pretty much understand what it's about. I mean, you know, the whole transgenderism thing, and everyone should have. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
No
So
problem.
yeah, this happens. This happens a lot across America. There's a lot of hurt feelings out there. So,
All right.
but yeah, I mean, it's just not something that that resonates with us. It turns us off, and it turns off most people around the world, because most people around the world are, you know, the family unit is the essential unit of life, and what the woke agenda is really basically, it's what's the best term for it? It's a cult of the self. It's like any impulse you have, just, you know, magnify it and share it with the world, and be, you know, and then be all about yourself, with no consideration for you know, your family,
Right.
or having a family, and then, you know, frankly, it's an agenda that's anti-family, because it's incorporated with the environmental movement, which, you know, their point of view is, you know, human beings equals carbon footstep equals bad, humans bad, let's get rid of them. So
Right.
that all factors into the thinking that goes into it. So also, I want to point out something that you know, I heard Bernie Sanders say the other day. He said, and I'm going to paraphrase, he said something to the effect of, you know, the Democrats, you know, turned their back on working class voters, and they turned their back on Latino voters, and they turned their back on black voters. Okay, so there's one way to interpret it on its face value. But the other part of that statement that I think you know, you have to consider, which is more telling, is that the sequence of the way he said it. He said Latino voters, then black voters. So what does that tell you about the way they're thinking about you know, politics going forward? So,
Well,
you know,
if I can interject, so when Biden first took office, him and Kamala, they met with our, in quotation marks, I say this very loosely, our black leadership, and even Biden said, "Hey, you guys need to start sitting down and meeting with the Latino." With you know, Latino delegation, because pretty much they're next in line, and that's what he told the black leadership. So, right.
well, yeah, and the chaos at the border was deliberate. I mean, it's a deliberate part of their platform. They're not going to put it in their talking points, but I mean, the facts speak for themselves. You know, it says we saw what happened, and they pretend, oh, well, we just need to pass the legislation, and the Republicans won't pass it. Hoo, boo, hoo. It's like, what? So this wasn't an issue before, and all of a sudden, it's because we don't have the right legislation. So, you know, it's insincere the way they talk about it, because it was very deliberate. And what they didn't count on is that, you know what, you know, most Latinos in America are Mexican. And you know what? We don't want to be swamped by these Venezuelan immigrants. They're Venezuelans. They're not Mexicans. It's its own sovereignty.
Let me stop you right there, because, you know, we tend to group all you guys as one. So expand on that.
Yeah, Venezuela is an independent sovereign nation. Mexico is an independent sovereign nation. The same way that Italy is a sovereign nation from Germany. They have their own identities. I mean, yeah, we have a common language, but apart from that, I mean, we've developed our own societies over the last 500 years. So, Mexican society is different from Venezuelan society, and their experience is different from our experience. So, the fact of the matter is that white liberals dismiss our differences as insignificant. That they don't, it's like we're all the same, and we're not. We don't have the same interests. I mean, Cubans have their own unique experience with, living, from an island nation that got engulfed by communism, which is a very different experience from the Mexican experience, which is very different from the Argentine experience. Like, for example, Argentina, they are 97% Euro descendants. Basically, Argentina is a European nation in Latin America. To be frank about it, and those differences are unappreciated by our political leadership. They're going to start to recognize it now. They've really turned off the Mexicans, and we're never going to go back again. I mean, you can't. The Mexicans used to be reliably split 70-30 in favor of the Democratic Party. Now they're 50-50, and it's not inconceivable that they'll in the future it'll be 70-30. We're basically going to follow the same pattern of voting as the Cubans in Miami and Florida, and so that's damning for the Democrats. I don't know how they recover from that unless they change their agenda and change their agenda into a way that conforms to our expectations. So. With that being said, I mean, I think there is a coalescence of African American interests and U.S. Latin American interests because we're negatively impacted by unmitigated immigration as well. So there may be some unity there, and I think the Republican Party is poised to take advantage of it. Let's take a look at the way Donald Trump. I don't think I've ever seen any one president really reach out to the African American community the way he has. And right. To be honest, he didn't really reach out that hard for the Latino vote, and yet secured 50% of it without really trying. So let's say he really does go for it. I mean, it's a permanent lock for the Republican Party, and the Democratic Party is going to be kind of lost for a little while trying to reconcile the far left with the mainstream, and I don't think that you can. So so I think it's a golden era for the Republicans, so I don't know. What are your thoughts on the matter?
Well, so another question I have, and I'm hearing this especially from the majority of Black people still vote Democrat, so they're upset that how dare the Latino community betray us and vote Republican, and now they're saying when Donald Trump starts deporting all you guys, because for some reason they think in your head if you're Latino, you live in America, you're up for deportation. They're not going to do anything. Can you expand on that? Just because you're Latino does not mean you're up for deportation.
Well, I mean, if you weren't deported then, why would you be deported now? It's simple as that. I mean, he was president for 4 years, and nothing happened. If you're a U.S. citizen, or even if you're a legal alien, and you don't get into trouble, don't cause waves, and just you're probably gonna get by just fine. It's going to be the people that are first and foremost. The people that are with illegal residents that are incarcerated, they're going to be the first to go, obviously. Then, it's going to be people who are, in immigration detention centers. And then it's going to be, the focus is going to be on securing the border. And then maybe down the road, as people, get into trouble and whatnot, we're going to start to, send those people back as well. But I don't think you're going to see massive roundups. It's partly it's just not even practical. And another factor that people don't consider is a lot of people leave on their own. Living in the United States is not easy. I mean, why would you want to live in some place where you're, where you feel like an unwanted guest? And if you ever travel to Mexico, you're anywhere you go, you're going to find people that have been to the United States and they chose to go back. So I think a lot of people will filter back into their native countries slowly, and I don't know. We'll probably have to reconcile ourselves with the remainder that are still here, but yeah, so that's where I see things standing at the moment. I could be wrong. Maybe there could be a deportation program, and we'll see if and when that happens. It's of course the liberal media is going to try to milk it for as many tears as they can possibly get, to try to make the Republicans look bad. But the fact of the matter is, it's not in the interest of the African American community to have that many people here. Like for example, okay. 30 million people, that's 10% of the US population. Did the housing stock go up by 10%? We didn't build 10% more houses to accommodate all these people. So that is causing tremendous financial strain all over the country. I mean, we have a severe, massive shortage. Nobody's talking about it. The media is not going to talk about it because, they're just in the tank for the Democrats, all the time. Nothing bad can happen while a Democrat is in charge. Everything is freaking rosy. Inflation isn't real. But obviously, CNN is not real life,
Right.
and they just found that out in the election. People, Kamala's $1 billion campaign fund cannot erase what people actually feel in their day-to-day lives. So they found that out. You just can't propagandize people to ignore the reality that they see and feel every day. I mean, it doesn't work. I mean, in North Korea, people know how miserable they are, but and so it's not like they don't know. I mean, they don't have a choice. It's a totalitarian system. They can't escape it, but they know that they're miserable. They know what they feel. I mean, they're just not capacitated to overturn it. And here, we are capacitated to overturn it at the ballot box, and that's exactly what happened. So I would, I want to turn the question around to you. How do you see the African Americans in general reconciling with Latinos going forward? Because we're going to have to coexist.
Well, per the African Americans who voted Democrat, they claim because it was more African Americans who were Black and Brown coalition, Black and Brown peoples. They're now saying that, or they're claiming that they're done with the brown for now. And when I don't know who Yamoja voted for. I think Leandre, he might have voted for Kamala, and I'm not sure. You guys can let me know if you guys voted for Kamala. They're now saying that, hey, when Trump and his goons come round you guys up and denaturalize you guys and send you back to Mexico or Venezuela or wherever, that African Americans aren't going to do anything. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if African Americans played a vital role in you guys staying here. I mean, I don't know. I know the politicians did. I know the Black politicians did. Like John Lewis, before he passed away, he was rooting for DACA and all of that, and same thing with Barack Obama. But I don't know. Yeah, see, but and that's the thing. Like the African Americans who are saying that they're done with Latinos because they feel betrayed, they're still going to vote for these Black politicians who need the Latino vote. So I don't know how that looks like. I mean, somebody help me out here. African Americans who voted for Democrats, like, are you going to stop voting Democrat? Or because I mean, if you vote for Democrats and their politicians, they're still going to cater to Latinos because, like Joe Biden said, they're next in line. So I wonder how that looks like. But go ahead, Mexican Condor.
Well, yeah, I just want to share an observation. So I think there is a generational divide. And this is what I've noticed. Okay, people 50 and over, they've been molded by the mainstream media, and that's their the source, the point of reference for everything that happens in the world. That's like if you want to know what's happening, that's the legitimate news source, quote unquote. Now, Luna, get back in the house. Sorry, my dog got out. But people under 50, they're not consuming media the way that the people over 50 consume media. I don't even watch television. Well, I mean, I'm over 50, but there's definitely a generational divide. Um, People are more influenced by podcasts than they are by mainstream media. I mean,
Right.
like, for example, Joe Rogan, being the most notable example, on any given podcast, he generates 10 million views or more. And the reality is, a CNN broadcast hardly ever breaks six figures. And the only people that look towards to CNN for legitimacy or information or the way to look at the world are older people. So, I think going forward, I think what Joe Rogan demonstrated is that in order to connect with people, you're going to have to be able to sit down for 2 or 3 hours, and people are going to have to feel that you are an authentic person. The days of these manicured and edited and carefully worded interviews, that's over. It's a new era. And I mean, the mainstream. Cable media is dying. They're losing like 2 million subscribers a quarter. Mm-hmm. So, and it's not going to ever come back again. So, I don't know who the main. Well, Joe Rogan's probably going to be one of the most important people in media going forward, and there will be others like him. And nobody cares about 60 Minutes. It didn't move the needle at all. Nobody cares. It only works for people who are retirement age, and there's going to be less of them in the next election cycle. And the people that consume online media, YouTube and whatever other streaming options materialize, they're going to shape the narrative. Corporate media has lost control now. It's not losing control; it has lost control. I mean, the election results speak for themselves. I mean, they've been propagandizing against Trump 24/7 for 8 solid years. For 8 solid years, it's been Trump is Hitler, Trump is Hitler, Trump is Hitler, Trump is Mussolini, Hitler, and Saddam Hussein all at the same time. Right. And it doesn't work. It's a failure. So, I mean, anything that they say is going to be taken with a grain of salt because they just don't have any legitimacy with the younger people. So, at the same time, go ahead.
So, should Latinos who naturalized, should they be concerned about denaturalization?
No, of course not. That's a red herring. That's just people alarmism. You can't do that because I mean that would include people from all over the world. That's not going to happen. It's just a scare tactic. And once you become also, it's kind of racist to say that, okay, well, you're Latino and a U.S. citizen, but somehow your citizenship is less legitimate than mine.
Right.
You're a U.S. citizen is a U.S. citizen. Period.
Let me bring on Kala.
So, yeah.
All right, go ahead, Kala. You got a question? Unmute yourself, Kala.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. You got to.
Okay, ahead. Let me take your speaker. Okay, now can you hear me?
It's better. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, what this brother was saying is he was dropping jewels. And to Willie Fungus, right? Look, the pendulum is swinging in Black America too. I'm ready to sit down and talk to Latinos and listen to what they have to say, because we haven't got any place where people like Willie Fungus, these Africans and everything like that, just opposed to us every single way. The bottom line, this is reality. This is reality. We live in this. We're living in, as long as we are in this country, right? We got to start talking to other groups of people and things. So I like to hear this gentleman's perspective. He was right on about. I don't think anybody else caught that. He said that the Democrats with the woke thing was the human beings a problem, the family's a problem. Human beings are basically a problem on the earth because we breathe, let out carbon dioxide. That's what this is all about. It's all about population control. It's all about something under the guise of helping the planet. How you gonna help the planet and talk about wiping off half the population on the earth? So people had no idea the hidden hand of evil that was what this democratic agenda was. You know, the changing of what traditional marriage is, the changing of gender. All this stuff had to do with the fact, and plus the Latinos were looking at this stuff, right? The Arab community was looking at this stuff and saying, you know something, we know Trump said a couple things about Mexicans. We and the Arabs say, yeah, you know, but the bottom line is, I don't want my son in a dress. You know, I don't want my son wearing a miniskirt. You know, I don't want my daughter on OnlyFans. You know, as a legitimate means of income. That's what they're doing. They're trying to legitimize things like the OnlyFans and all kinds of stuff like that among young girls. They said we don't want this world that the Democrats are pushing. We're tired of celebrities friggin' being the role models. Everything, all this was like one big bonfire of the vanities. The world, America rejected everything they threw at Donald Trump. You can't. I even heard some crazy person say the media was against Kamala. I mean, these people are insane. Somebody actually said that on TikTok. The media was against. The media was favoring Trump. Are you kidding me? They can't believe that they freaking lost, and the media was basically did everything they can. And also, what this guy was saying a minute ago about the manufactured politician. You cannot do that in the age of social media. Barack Obama would never got elected if TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter was around when he was running. He would not have won. He was basically manufactured by CNN, MSNBC, the corporate media. They created Barack Obama. We didn't know his name was Barry Sotomayor out of Indonesia and whatnot. You know, we didn't know the fact that it was a known thing that he was born in Kenya and everything. All we knew was that he was hope and change, and he was with this guy with a black wife was blaring on our TV. We was like, oh man, we just got captivated. But that can't work nowadays. You know, Trump survived social media and he survived the media, right? Barack Obama could never have done with Trump if the media was against him. He could never got elected. So what I'm saying is this right here election is a mandate. However you want to take it. Now, if you want to be negative and say, oh, like Sonny goes about, I got less rights, and you got a lot of black people talk about. You had this one black girl talk about, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and they're gonna put me back in slavery. This is insane. You know, you got literally people. You know, look, it's time for the people that's in power, the power to be, to grow the heck up. Right? You're lost because that's what's sad is they're playing with people's mental health to score some political points. That's the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life. And these people almost won and got in power. You know, that's what's scary about this. You know, these crazy, insane people who went to the bottom. It seems like social media was more responsible than broadcast media. Broadcast media is supposed to have the checks and balances and stuff like that, and oversight and accountability, right? But none of that's in broadcast media. It's like more all the checks, balances, and accountability is online and social media. You know, so it's like it's fun to watch this fundamental power shift in American culture. That's all I gotta say right now.
Mexicano, I'm gonna unmute you here in a second because it was some feedback coming from your end. Guys, hit the like button again. Please hit that like button. If you're in the chat, if you're watching, please hit that like button. Hit the like button, y'all. Or go ahead, Mexicano.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm glad someone else is acknowledging that, you know, that there is a fundamental shift happening into the way that we consume media and the way that it shapes public opinion, and I think it's a great thing for America because anyone who there's a lot of good people that otherwise would shy away from politics because they're not going to get the backing of a party. You can build support online. You can say I'm so and so, and this is what I'm all about, and I'd like to represent you, and and do it at a very low cost. So it's going to be interesting to see when that happens, because the reality is in places like California, when it's a one-party state, the representatives aren't elected; they're appointed. When they get the party nomination, that's as good as being elected in places like California. So that means the power is not with the voters; the power is with the party insiders. And I think that's going to fall apart, and it's high time it does. But with that being said, Uh, I'm sorry. So I think African Americans. I don't know how they feel about this, but I mean, the fact of the matter is that Bernie Sanders prefaced Latinos over African Americans. That means a permanent dislocation to
Well,
third
Joe, well,
place for African Americans.
Biden said the same thing. So, but I predict this as well. So there's, like you said, the Democratic Party is going to move more center, and then as far as Black America, specifically Black women, their role in the Democratic Party, it won't be as, I don't know, where it would be focused, or because like for example, Black women demanded that Joe Biden um, give the VP role to a Black woman. They gave them the most one drop rule Black woman named Kamala Harris, who has a white husband. I just think that Black people won't be able to leverage that much power in regards to demands from the Democratic Party.
Well, I think
uh,
I think they've lost all their leverage.
right.
How do you compete in a place like Florida and Miami? You have to put Latinos first, and it would if it was Ukrainians there making up the population, and whoever it happens to be, you would have to put them first. And in Florida, that's going to be Latinos. So how much energy and focus are they going to dedicate towards getting out the African American vote? They don't have to. It's not going to make the difference. The only difference that can be had is by appealing to Latinos. So, I mean, that's a permanent dislocation. And I think African Americans, if I was African American, I'd be upset about being, always being number two. And well, how does number three feel? And
Right. So like I said, I don't think Black people, especially Black women, will have that much more. Will no longer have that much influence over the Democratic Party. I think they're gonna it's done. If you ask me.
yeah, and the demographics are going to keep changing because it's not just Latinos, it's also Asians. I mean, and there's more Asians in the world than there is of anybody else, period. So we're not seeing the mass numbers like coming across the border like we do from Latin America, but God forbid Kamala did win, what would the future of America look like? It wouldn't be a white, Black, Latino, Asian. It would be African Americans would be in fourth or fifth place, because that's the objective, is to replace all the people that aren't being born with foreigners, to keep us all competing against each other for the same resources. That's ultimately what they mean by economic growth is, oh yeah, we're all going to get screwed on the rents because we only have so many houses because of global warming, but we're going to bring in all these people to compete for the few spaces that are left. And that's what California felt like for me. I felt like I was basically a serf to my landlord. So a serf in the back of the Middle Ages of Europe was were the tenants on the land that came with the land that the landlords would be able mostly basically milked for resources and labor and and sexual favors. So that's what it felt like in California, and that's what they want for the rest of us. And so thank God that at least that's been curbed for now. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the future? But and I'm not xenophobic, and I know the liberals like to say that about conservatives. Okay, if we're going to let in 100 million people, we need 100 million houses, 100 million cars, as many schools and all the infrastructure to accommodate them. What we have now, is everyone's hurting from inflation, and they're trying to make it worse. They're deliberately trying to make it worse. So, but it's only because of Donald Trump that's been curbed for the time being. So at least we all get to have a little bit of relief until who knows what kind of where they're going to go in the future, because I don't think they're going to give up on the extreme far left agenda. They're still going to make climate change their top priority, and they're also going to try to replace replace us with, an influx of foreigners because, I believe that their real intent was to flood Texas with so many foreigners that they would eventually vote blue, and then it would be, they would dominate the Southwest and the South. That's what I believe their real intentions were. Thankfully, Governor Abbott of Texas, turned the tables on them and made them, feel the consequences of their actions. But otherwise, I mean, they might have been successful. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, Texas, Republicans won Texas about 14% this to go around.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there was Texas that had a lot of blue counties right along the border, right? And
But a lot of them flipped red.
They all flipped red because they felt they were on the front lines of the impact of unmitigated immigration, even though a lot of those people, have family on both sides of the border. There's, kind of bleeds over. It kind of blends together, and not all of them, have necessarily the legal status, but that's something that they're all bonded together, and the Venezuelans are not part of that bond. Neither are the other people that are coming across. They're not part of that bond along the Texas border. And but the Democrats figured, oh, they're all the same. They're going to love having more of the same people with them. It's like, no, we're not the same. Clearly, and it was traumatizing to people along that stretch of Texas. And even in California, there's a lot of things that happen that aren't being propagated in the media, because I deal with a lot of elderly Latino people in Medicare insurance, and through the communities of San Isidro and Chula Vista down by the California-Mexico border, they have people running through their yards, stealing clothes, knocking on the doors, asking for money and food, and it's not in the media. It's buried, so it's affected everyone, and hopefully they've learned to respect the fact that we're not all the same, and we have differences, and you have to acknowledge our differences.
Let me pass it to Black Lion. Go ahead, Black Lion. Unmute yourself. Black Lion, unmute yourself.
This year.
Black Lion, you got to turn off the background, the TV or whatever.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, thanks for having me, Sean Dennis. Well, to be honest, I kind of what the Mexican Condor's been saying. No, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Like in his respect for his community and his perspective, I cannot agree with him more to a certain degree. Like for me, like when I saw this election coming, like I said, he might not be the president we want, but he might be the president we need, because things have gone out of hand. And I will say this: one thing I do envy about how his community, a lot of his communities voted, is the fact that they all voted as a people. They all agreed, regardless what he says or what he has said. It's the fact that it's the fact they all unified as a people and voted for their best interests as a community, with no emotions involved, just like what was best for them. I kind of wish our community did the same thing in mass. Because one thing, I was just recently talking to people yesterday about the election, and he said, I'm not disappointed that I'm more disappointed in us, because I saw this election has exploited the more of a divide between the Black community. It exposed how we're not really unified at all. And it's so sad. Like, I never knew how many Black people who were in the Democratic Party, to a certain degree, was like attacking African Americans who want to be Republican or independent, or who don't want to be in the election at all. I never saw like the horrendous vitriol a lot of African Americans got just for saying, let's try something different. Let's try another route. Let's just give it a chance. Like, what else we got to lose? We saw what this party has done once we voted in for Obama, Clinton, Obama, and Biden. Let's try something different. What the hell can it hurt? And it's like, I heard no flack from other communities when they want to switch parties. At least what's best for their interest. It's very sad and very disappointing how, like, for me, if it's like the main people, the main black people who are going for Democrat, main reason was because of the Trump 2025 thing, and it's like that was the main reason why people wanted to vote for Kamala, nothing else. So I asked them, so if y'all never heard that plan at all, would you still vote for Kamala, or would you still vote for her? All I got was silence in the background. And it's like, you guys literally vote out of fear or hatred for Trump. You guys don't even really see like the other assets of what we the possibilities that's best for us. And it's just very it's just very disappointing how what this election has exposed to the black community to a serious degree. Like every community vote for their own best interest, regardless of sides. But we can't at least agree what's best for us, regardless who was in office or not. But to a certain degree, I'm kind of glad he won. Not because I like the dude, but the fact that like one like agreements in Condor to a certain degree is like we're doing that party wants to do too much for resources for little amount of resources we barely have left. Like and we saw the results of how this can really affect the American people, and so in a way, to me, it's like a mental relief because now in this day and age, since he's president again, thank God, in a way historically how the Democrats have always been running this country, especially not in the best way possible. I wouldn't be surprised if people start voting Republican for the next 10 to 20 to 30 years because they didn't want to go through the same hell they went through Obama and Biden again. To a certain degree, but that's all I have to say right now. Thank you.
Mexicano, you want to add to that?
Well, yeah. What I would add to that, if your vote is taken for granted, then your interests are going to be taken for granted. What do you expect if you don't ask for anything in return? I mean, and the only way you can leverage that is by legitimately having the power to vote the other direction. If you don't do that, you have no power. If they just assume that, they're going to vote for us no matter what, so why we're not compelled to do anything for them because it's just a given that we're going to get their vote. If you don't demand anything, you get nothing. It's as simple as that. And I have to take issue with the Republican Party. It doesn't do a very good job of reaching out to Latinos or African Americans. They need to work on that, and I think Trump has gone a long way. But if they know they're going to get your vote no matter what, they're not going to do anything for you. Simple as that. They don't have to. So they can focus their interests on these fringe platforms. They can focus on the LGBTQ whatever, and these all fringe minority groups, and basically the elitists in the party. So you have to be able to vote the other direction if you want to have any real leverage. So. Political identity is a lot. I mean, it's not that different from religion, so it's very tribal. So, how do you get people to realize, okay, you know what, you need to switch tribes? That's the challenge. So, Latinos, I think, have made that acknowledgement, but our African Americans are working towards it.
Sorry about that.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens over the next 4 years because we're going to have another 4 years of Donald Trump to get used to, and not a whole lot changed from yesterday to today. And probably you're not going to feel any real changes tomorrow either. So eventually they're going to be, it's like, none of the awful things that they told us was going to happen is actually happening. So then where do you go from that? And also, it's a done deal. I mean, they threw everything they possibly had against the guy. Now they're done and they're exhausted. And it's like, okay, yeah, he's going to be for 4 years, and then he's going to be gone, and then we're just going to have boring presidents for, probably for the rest of our lives. So,
Hey, Dennis, can I say something?
yeah, go ahead.
Go. Okay. What's good about this election is it's the end in Black America. It's the end of the black girl magic, the Pookie and Buquisha underclass center agenda, because the bottom line is this: the Pookie and Buquisha don't really have an agenda. All they do have is emotion. When they come to the black community, they forget there's a large black middle class. There's black people who want to get into the upper class. There's black business people and everything. Those of us who are not like starving or on government assistance, everything like that, who do we go to? You know, every time you hear somebody talk about the black community, Al Sharpton and whatnot, they always talk about help cut food stamps. Well, I'm not on goddamn food stamps. You know, well, I'm not on Section 8. Well, I'm not also prison reform. I'm not in jail. You know, criminal justice reform. I'm not a fucking criminal. Excuse my language. You know, so the difference with the Latino community is, I seen the one congressman down in Texas, right? She got Tesla to build a factory, deploy her people to add to the tax base and jobs down there. That's what they organize. They getting something out of the politics in America. Who is bringing jobs, real jobs to the black community? That's what we send people to Congress for. That's what we send elect people for. They don't bring home the bacon because all they have to do is appeal to the Bunquisha, the Pookies, and the beta males and these other stupid people in our community and whatnot. And the bottom line is, I think, and also, let me tell you something, folks, about this exit vote. When they go to these exit vote poll, I was a poll worker, right? Election official, poll worker, right? All they do is stand outside, right? Look at people and say, who'd you vote for? Most people do not tell you the truth at the exit vote, particularly black people. So I will bet, they say 25% of black men admitted to voting for Trump, right? I would say about half voted for Trump. You know, the other half just wouldn't admit it. I believe that. You know, because you don't get these numbers where they talk about only 20% of the black population voted for Trump. No, it was way higher than that. You don't win. You don't win by these margins and these swing states by basically having like 90% of the black vote. And then there was a large low black voter turnout. That too can factor in. So the bottom line is a lot of black people didn't vote for Trump, but they would not vote against him. That's what happened in 2016. So the bottom line is there's something going on where black people are listening, and the Democrats basically, I don't know what they're going to do in the future, right? Either they start taking black people seriously, or they're going to keep losing. You know, you can't go out there and get proof of what I'm talking about is this. Who do they go to when they want the black vote? Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, you know, Plies, entertainers. That's insulting. And most black people felt insulted. You know, educated, more and more of us are educated. You know, we look at the things in the world. We look at things like the border. We look at inflation. We look at World War III. A lot of black people talking about World War III, concerned about what's going on in Russia and what's going on in the Middle East and stuff like that. Especially people with military-aged young men that might get drafted to war. So these conversations were happening. But when you look at the people reaching out to black people, all they keep talking about was racism. Racism. Trump's gonna be a racist. And the bottom line is, hey, they have nobody to blame but themselves. They were not listening. You know? That's what I have to say about that.
You want to add to that, guys? I'll put the link in the chat room, and please hit the like button again. Please hit that like button as you come to the chat room.
Guys, one more last thing. Guys, one more last thing. Aunt Nam in the chat room said, "Oh, stop the cap collar." Twitter and all that was around during Obama. No, it wasn't. The only thing.
No, not like it is now. Absolutely.
Only thing out of Obama was MySpace, and nobody was on MySpace talking politics. We were just putting up videos, was acting silly in public. That's what social media is, and the Ning site, the Ning. On Ning, we had a lot of good discussions going on. But the bottom line is, when I started talking politics, when I got on Blog Talk Radio, right, in 2009, right, people, this goofy ass girl called in talking about, what are you talking about politics for? There's more important things to talk about, like Beyonce's next album. I said, are you freaking? I went off on her. Beyonce, you know, that was the level of the mentality of black people back then. You know, nobody was talking politics, you know, nobody. 2009, black people were apolitical. Nobody was talking. You know, people got into politics during Obama's time period and made people misguided. We became born again Democrats. You know, so bottom line is this idea that Obama could have won in the age of Twitter and TikTok and Joe Rogan and all these podcasters out there, the Ben Shapiro show, and Candace Owens. If all these people around during when Obama was running, he would not have won. Trust me, he would not have won because they would dug so much shit up on him and basically said, "Yo, this is what y'all want." But the media portrayed him as some messianic leader, and we bought into.
All right. Mexicano, you want to? And guys, links in the chat room. Guys, please hit the like button. And once again, link is in the chat room. If you guys want to call in, add to the conversation. I
want to say this though, like real quick. Personally, like one thing what Kyle said, I agree with 100% on. For me, I want to add to that. For me, is like what's frustrating about this election also was the fact that these the Biden and them, a lot of them were literally openly racist towards us, and we still let their asses in. That's my problem. It's when he went ever since that Breakfast Club when he said if we don't vote for him, we're not black. He didn't say that to no other ethnic group on public television or the public. He told no other ethnic group they're not their race because they didn't vote for him. He told nobody that except for us. That was so embarrassing and insulting as hell. And then Kamala said years ago, I'm not gonna do opening for black people. It's like, okay, I respect that. That means you don't get my vote. But it's crazy how we don't want to acknowledge that. We don't want to admit that they're not a racist party. We have this angel demon dichotomy between the two parties as if one's better than the other. It's like you guys are just as worse as the Republican Party, if you want to put it in that perspective. Just because they're not open about the racism or the discrimination or the corruption does not mean they don't have it themselves. Like I still remember when Ice Cube got he got a specific plan for African Americans he got with Claude Anderson to help him out with him and his team. And majority of people on the Democrat Party, from the news, from the celebrities, were all attacking him. And all he said was, "Listen, I don't care who's racist. Both y'all are the same to me. It's about who's going to offer something to my people." And they not like the fact that a black man was calling out the corruption on both sides, but he said, "I'm willing to work with somebody as long as African Americans get something out of this." It's like they really want him on that Democrat plantation mentality, and they were attacking him left and right. And like what Kyle was saying earlier about the pseudo black sisterhood thing, they attacked him because of that. So it's like I'm kind of glad that things turned out the way they did. It probably needed to happen because Democrats are angels of Jesus and Republicans are devils of hell. That pseudo bullshit is over. Excuse my language, but that bullshit is over. It's too much. We've seen too much. We've been through too much. And I live in California. We're supposed to be the best quote unquote liberal state in the country. It is one of the most economic, most political devastating states. And we're second to New York City. So it's like it's like the BS is over. The corruption is being called out. I'm glad a lot of us starting to wake up to a certain degree, because like I said, enough is enough. And was like, and then the amount of disrespect, like Colin did call it, the amount of disrespect the African American community had with the entertainers and then open discrimination that y'all blame Trump for, like he's the god of all racism, when Biden explicitly said in front of our faces. It's like, yeah, it's done. It's literally over. It's done. It's over now. That bullshit's done.
Guys, links in the chat room. Again, if you want to call in, add to the conversation, click on the link. Miss Condor, anything you want to add? You just got to unmute yourself. You have some background noise.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, well, I just want to add that there's two kinds of racism. Okay, there's overt racism, which is easy to recognize, and I think the more sinister and damaging kind of racism is the racism of condescension and low expectations. And let's be honest, that's what you're really getting from the white liberals in the Democratic Party. It's a kind of racism of condescension. That's why they all lump us in together. And now that's why they are having a wake-up moment, and they're having a hard time reconciling the fact that they lost so many of the people, they assume they're just naturally going to vote for us because we know what's in their best interests. And what their argument to that is, well, they're voting against their best interests. It's like, okay, who's better suited to understand what our best interests are, you or us? And that goes for anybody and everybody. It's like people, when you say that, it's really it's rooted in condescension and patronizing, and and it's a subversive form of racism. And so it's a comeuppance that's been due for a long time. And I'm glad that I've alive in this moment in history to witness it happening. And it really is a transformational election on levels that probably are not fully appreciated yet. And we will look back on it as it's a major turning point in American history. It's not just going to be, okay, this the orange mad bad that we have to tolerate for 4 years. It's everything has changed forever. And so yeah. So that, with that being said, I'm glad that I got to witness it. It was a great moment in history. Frankly, I was actually surprised that it happened, because what I was expecting, given the history over the last 8 years, I was expecting the swamp to invalidate the election somehow, even if it was overt and obvious, even if it caused a civil conflict. I did not think they would actually let it happen. I was really expecting something like a civil conflict and even more division. Now, and with regard to Trump's assassination attempts, they cultivated that to happen. They encouraged it. They were not, they were putting their finger on the scale to, well, if someone out there does do that, it's not the worst thing in the world. And so he survived it, obviously, and I can only imagine how divided we would be if it had turned out otherwise. If he had been shot and killed, how divided we would be, because given the what we knew at the time, there was no way you could. It had all the hallmarks of a conspiracy, and it would be very hard to argue that it wasn't one. And we would be in a world of hell right now if that gunman had succeeded. So thank God, or thank Allah, or thank whatever divinity you recognize, that it didn't happen. So that's what I have to say about that.
All right, let me pass it to Dre. Go ahead, Dre. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, so as far as like how this election turned out, I mean, it wasn't a surprise because, I think that Kamala didn't really have enough time to campaign. I mean, she only had like a little over 100 days to campaign. So, of course, she wasn't going to appeal to everybody. Now, as far as like black men, voting for Trump 20%, a lot of those black men, the reason why they voted for Trump was due to the fact that they felt like she didn't have an agenda for them specifically, even though she did lay out a black male agenda, and Trump didn't do anything. He didn't even lay out a black male agenda at all, but people still voted for him just for the sake of him not being Kamala. So I don't get why, we will vote against our best interests. You see what I'm
Trey,
saying?
that's a bunch of crap. You know it.
That's not a bunch of crap. What type of policies did he have? What policies will benefit us as black men?
This is what I'm talking about. You don't get it, right? Nobody was asking for any policies, right? Because we don't have a collective. We're not like the Latinos who had certain issues they want to talk about. We would talk about this. Everything in the black community is Pookie and Ray Ray and Buquisha centered. I'm not voting for Pookie and Ray Ray. When she basically said, "I'm gonna make marijuana legal." I'm not a fucking marijuana smoker. So why is she talking to me? I'm gonna give low interest loans to black men, no credit check. I got good credit. What the fuck are you talking about?
But that's you individually. That's not the collective though.
No, it doesn't matter.
Oh,
That's
God,
the
collective.
So that's what I'm saying.
black
No black men. See, y'all let Trump get away with the rhetoric, and then y'all don't want to hold him accountable.
Hold on. Let me say this, and I'll
a higher standard to Kamala.
Let me
and
say
saying
this.
that she has to do all this other stuff, even though he has no plan laid out for you.
Kala, you fell off, Kala.
65% of black men are in the middle class, right? 10% of black
not
men
true.
are in the upper class. That's it's IRS statistics. You know, we're not the same people scrounging for crumbs and whatnot. When are people going to recognize that black men are over the last 25 years have record numbers of businesses and incomes, education, everything? We're not the same people we were a generation ago. Why they keep talking to us like we're so downtrodden and down and out? You know,
If you
that's why people.
disaggregate that data, if you disaggregate the data, I bet you a lot of those black Americans
Hey, Dre,
don't fit that description. I bet you it's mostly Africans, Caribbean people,
No,
and
this
other black
African
people who come from other
Americans. No,
places.
no, that's another lie.
Because
That's
they're gonna lump all black people together. So
yeah,
of course,
no, Caribbeans and them aren't doing anything. It's us. You know, I'm in the top 5%, whatever. You know,
your situation is very anecdotal. It's not the typical black American experience. So basically, you have a white life that most black Americans don't have.
A white life. Oh God.
Yeah, and also too, immigrants come here to be white as well.
Oh God.
Everybody is trying to fight for this.
Dre. Let me ask you this: who did you vote for?
Who did I vote for?
Yeah.
Why do you want to know? Why do you want to know who I voted for?
I just want to know
so you can chastise me and try to.
Who'd you vote for? It's fine. Who'd you vote for?
I know this is a question, so you can bait me into chastising me.
I'm not
I know.
I'm just asking.
It's a gaslighting question, but of course, I'm not going to vote for the orange man. I'm not going to vote for a dictator. So of course,
so you're biased.
You're biased. Y'all vote for the orange man. Y'all vote for the orange man.
Dre
said he's going to be a dictator on day one.
Hold on, Colin, one mic. Mexicano, unmute your mic. Mexicano, you there?
Oh yeah, with regard to the they want to be white argument, you know
what?
Well,
Mexicano, let me make a statement first. That you can respond to since you're Latino, you can respond to See, the reason why the Democratic Party has to kind of shift away from the black community is because of Dre. Like people like Dre are not going to attract people to come vote for the Democratic Party. And the majority of black voices for the Democrats, they're like Dre, and it just turns people off.
At first, I was going to vote third party because I felt like neither one was actually,
But you did.
Neither choice was good. But if I had to choose between the two, I'm not going to choose the orange man to say he's going to be a dictator.
So did you vote for Dre? Did you vote for Kamala Harris? Yes or no? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
No, you're gaslighting. See, all these little trolls. A lot of y'all are trolling.
I voted for Trump.
Yeah, I voted for
Trump.
Okay, you happy now? Yeah, I voted for her. Yeah, you happy
Dre,
now?
I voted for Trump. I voted for Trump, but I'm just saying.
Why did you vote for Trump?
I'll get to that in a second, but let me respond. I'm gonna let Mexicano respond. Hold on, Colin. Hold on. Then I'll explain why I voted for Trump. But this right here is the reason why people are not attracted to the Democratic Party and why they're going to shift, like Mexicano said, to more center. Even I'm going to say even Republican. The Republican Party right now is the MAGA party. I'm telling you, the Democratic Party is going to shift to more closer to what the Republicans used to be. And I'm telling these Rays because people like you and the sisters that want to take a sabbatical now, and I understand why Malcolm X made the statement that the black woman is the most disrespected woman on the planet because Kamala Harris, the Indian woman, lost. I get the Democratic Party is gonna have to shift away from black folks because y'all still gonna vote for a Democratic regardless. They know that, but they're just gonna have to shift away and bringing up white supremacy and Mexicano's Latino. He want to be white. Y'all just nobody wants. You guys are just
true. They want to be white.
You guys are unbearable. Nobody wants to be around you guys, and that's why you guys got blown out. Go ahead, Mexicano.
Oh yeah, well, with regard to the thing about wanting to be white, well, you know what? We get that same kind of flack on the Latino side of the fence. What the term they like to use? They like to call us coconuts. And you know what I say to that? Coconuts are delicious. So there you go. It's a shame that people, if you want to improve your lot in life, somehow that's a rebuke of your
Mexicano, you went out, Mexicano. You went out. We can't, Mexicano. You went out. We can't hear you. You
okay,
like
Let me get closer to the Wi-Fi. Let me see if I can get. Does it sound better?
No, you're like muffled.
Okay. Let me try to get a little bit closer. How's that?
No, you're still muffled.
Still muffled. Okay. Well,
There you go. You're better. Go ahead.
okay. Well, with regard to the statement, with some people saying.
Oh, we lost you again, Mr. Condor. You were just fine.
Okay. How about now?
That's a little bit better. Go ahead.
Okay, so with regard to people accusing you of whiteness, if you want to improve your lot in life, we get the same flack on the Latino side of the fence. And you know what the term that they like to use? They like to call us coconuts. And what I say to that is, coconuts are delicious. And that's all you can do and move forward, because you can't let yourself hold yourself back just because some people are jealous or resentful that you want to do better for yourself, and and that somehow getting ahead in life is a rebuke of your identity. You can't let that hold you back. You gotta move forward.
Mr. Condor, we lost you again. I don't know what's going on with your connection.
He wants to be white. That's the gist of the story. He wants to be white.
Okay, and Dre, if that's how you feel, that's fine. But I just the Democratic Party is going to continue to get blown out. I'm just telling you right now.
And the Republican Party is going to continue to roll back policies that are in favor of Black Americans. So if he gets deported, then don't say anything.
That's your opinion. Go ahead.
Oh, that's a fact.
Let me say this. Like, for example, like for me, I didn't vote in this election either. I didn't vote for your political party, but I did say that, and I'll say this again. He might not be the president we want, but he might be the president we need right now.
No, he's not the president we need. Why do we need him as a president?
Let me finish. I'm just saying, respectfully, like I said, African Americans have been, we voted for Clinton, Obama, and for Biden, 3 Democrat presidents. Respectfully, we didn't give any of these guys an agenda. We just assumed they were going to have an agenda for us. For one, 2. They have like I said, I live in California. They made so many corrupted policies that was for everybody else except for African Americans in particular. The only time we can get something that's in favor for us, unless it involves every other ethnic group. That's the reality.
Yeah, Republicans do the same thing too. I mean, Republicans are not going to practice specificity either. So that's just what I'm saying, is that he's not the president we need, because all he's going to do is just run this country as a fascist dictatorship. That's all it's going to be.
Oh God, fascist.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. It's the God honest truth. I mean, that's basically what he's going to run this country as.
Fascist.
He's going to let Elon Musk and all those super rich white billionaires do whatever the hell they want in Congress or in the government somewhere. He's not going to sit there and have any regulations on our future or anything like that. Or when it comes to
Dre, he's regulated the border.
But he's going to deregulate everything else.
He's regulated the border.
But here's my thing. He was in office before, so why he do these policies before? If that was the case.
But we can't look in the past. We're thinking about 2024. This is 2024. That was 2016.
Because my thing is, we always we need to stop this angel demon dichotomy as if one's good and one's evil. That's the problem.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that the Democratic Party is any better. I'm just saying that to Black Americans, the Republican Party is worse, way worse than the Democratic Party.
But Dre, I think what Black Americans have to realize is the Black Americans on the Democratic side are unbearable, and no one wants to play with you guys. No more. I'm sorry, Dre. You guys just gotta. He's a dictator. In fact, nobody. I'm just sorry, Dre. Like no one.
Here's my.
You guys are unbearable now. Nobody wants to play with you guys.
And I'll say this. Here's the best way to prove it. Like for anybody who wants to, who's pro blue or whatever, I'll say, go live in a dominantly blue state as an African American, and you will see the reality of living the so-called blue liberal life. It is literally bullshit. Excuse my language, because even we go on to the Department of Statistics of Labor and look at the states for African Americans in the blue states. We are economically and politically horrible. It's sad reality. Like the unemployment in California for African Americans who are not felons or anything, who are clean as a whistle, there is 8.8 and higher. DC, 8.8 higher. Every blue state, African Americans are doing horribly economically, politically. When I went to the red states, like for just Virginia alone, we had the lowest. Texas and Virginia alone, we were doing better politically and economically. So believe me, I want to believe, like they're the Republican states the Republicans are bad guys, but why are we doing increasingly better by their own statistics in those states than the blue states? That's supposed to be love everybody.
Typically Republicans do not have any policies in our favor or don't really favor policies in our favor. So I'm just saying I don't get how you are saying that the Republican Party is the better choice when they're known to roll back certain things. Even with the Civil Rights Act, most of them didn't vote on the Civil Rights Act. It was Democrats. The Voting Rights Act, most Republicans voted against it.
Let me say this then. In California, even my mom just found out when she was looking this up. Do you know California alone got rid of the affirmative action that was specifically for African Americans in the late 90s?
And that's before the Supreme Court decision, by the way.
Exactly, they got rid of that. I was talking to a lot. I'm telling you, they got rid of that.
And then Black Lion, and I'm passing about domestic Condor. It was the Black caucus that shut down the reparations bill in California. So
exactly,
but you already know Republicans are not going to be in favor of no reparations. I mean,
it don't matter, man. It don't matter. Black Democrats.
That's statewise. That's not federal. That's not on the federal level. That's on the state level.
Black Democrats.
So you're comparing apples to oranges.
Black Democrats shut it down.
And let me say this: in California,
and it's not what you even think. It wasn't even cash payments included.
It don't matter. Shut down. But Black Line, let me pass it back to Mexican Condor. Don't pass it, Jonathan. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to address the point I was trying to make earlier about a statement made by somebody that about wanting to be white. The same kind of poisonous thinking happens on the Latino side of the fence. What they call us is coconuts. So I think that's what I say to that is that coconuts are delicious because that's all you can do. Because I mean, if achieving and advancing is giving into whiteness, then how do you win? What does winning look like? It means staying in the same ruts. That's that's a form of literally mental slavery. That wanting to do better for yourself and your family is somehow a rebuke of your ethnicity or race or identity. I mean, how do you escape from that? I mean, so I reject that kind of thinking.
I'm not saying doing better means that you are being white. I'm talking about in the context of you wanting to take the position of whiteness and basically just go ahead of us or whatever, because we already know that Black Americans are at the bottom of the totem pole. So basically, what super rich, this is what super rich billionaires have done. The super rich billionaires have basically manipulated poor people and working class people to fight each other over scraps, so that way we can fight over who wants to be white or not. That's basically what's been happening, and they have been doing a good job of that, and they have been getting Black people and Latinos and everybody to fight against each other in that way. So that's the reason why I said that it's not about you bettering your life. It's more so about them trying to get us to compete against each other to fight for that top spot of whiteness and to rule over other people. Or to even be a part of that same group.
Dre, can you prove that Black people are at the bottom of the totem pole?
It's so many metrically, bro. A lot of us are at the bottom of the totem pole.
Just pull out some statistics, some facts that says that Black people are at the bottom of the totem pole.
On every metric. Okay. All right, I'll pull up the data. Y'all can keep talking.
Yeah, pull up the data.
All right, let me pass it to Chrissy. Go ahead, Chrissy.
Hi. Yeah, I was the person who was just talking. That was Jonathan, right? Or that was Dre.
Dre.
Yeah, you were saying that what Latinos want to be white or want to compete with us at the bottom. Is that you're saying something to that effect, right?
Yeah, fighting for scraps, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. You think these people came to America they came here to compete. People come to America to hold Black people a hand. They come here to improve the lives of their family and to get ahead of anyone who is too slow to get ahead for themselves.
And that's why we don't have allies and we don't have people.
No, we don't have
even Caribbean people do the same thing because they don't want to be attached to Black Americans because we're attached to American chattel slavery, and that's the reason why they want to.
Well, Dre, hold on, one mic, Dre. The more you keep talking, I understand why no other group of people want to be attached to Black Americans. I get it. The more you keep talking, like I'm not mad.
See, y'all show your white supremacist rhetoric right there. That's white supremacist talking right there.
This has nothing.
Y'all don't give a fuck about black Americans. It's very clear.
This has nothing to do with white supremacy.
It has a lot to do with white supremacy.
But Dre, did you just tell her to get the hell out of America?
Who?
What did you say?
I didn't tell her to get the hell out of America. I'm just saying that even Caribbean and other people tend to try to fight against us, so that way they can take our spot.
Nobody's fighting against you, Dre.
People are fighting for scraps, and the super rich billionaires are manipulating all of us into thinking that the problem is us instead of the people at the top of the food chain, and that's what y'all don't want to realize. Y'all see, they get unchallenged. Those rich people get unchallenged, while everybody else who are working class get challenged the most. And they're welfare queens, and they're doing all these fucked up tropes that y'all have and y'all buy into. The Western propaganda media has really manipulated all of your minds into believing that we're the problem and not the ones at the top of the food chain or at the top of the hierarchy.
Dre, nobody comes to America for scraps. People come to America to win.
Yeah, they come to America,
and it doesn't mean that you're going to win.
Shit on black Americans, because that's the way that they win, is to shit on us and then get to the fucking top.
So here's my question: what is the platform Caribbean people are using to shit on black Americans? Because I have never been informed of this.
You know, like you and other people probably have been told that black Americans are lazy bums that don't want to do anything in life. We've heard those tropes so many times.
Told that, Dre. So what?
You're just lazy. You just don't want to work hard. We already heard that bullshit already.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to lie. There are people, black immigrants, who say that. Now, what can we do with that information? What industries or sectors of the economy do we have a monopoly on that we can exclude black Americans? Honestly, this is really not a major conversation, even in our communities, to be honest. We're so busy trying to make it. We're not really even concerned about this stuff, to be really frank with you. I don't give a damn who like me. We don't come here to be liked. We don't come here for friendship. We come here to take care of our family.
Let me give you an example of Caribbean people trying to shit on black Americans. Okay, for example, your boy Byron Donalds, who's Panamanian and Jamaican, right? I
love Brian.
The Quinarian Byron Donalds.
I don't know who that is, but okay.
Yeah,
Byron Donalds, the coon, the sellout.
We need more Brian.
I don't know who he is.
Afro Latino.
I don't know who. Okay.
The ones that said that the black family was better under Jim Crow. The very same dude that kowtows.
Okay, now that was taken out of context. What he was saying is he was not saying that Jim Crow was good.
Damn context. He's basically saying that when we were lynched and we were
that's not what the man was saying. And there are black Americans who also said the same thing, that there was more of a family unit, a community unit. So Dr. Claude Anderson is a sellout.
Dr. Claude
Anderson has made that same point.
Black motherfuckers are sellouts. A lot of them just want to emulate white supremacy.
Listen, he did not say that to say that, hey, let's go back to that. He's saying, hey, what happened when we were under the worst of conditions? We had more of an economy. We had more of community. We had more values. What went wrong? What is the difference that happened there? What did we give up to get this integration that is now harming us? That is the backstory to that comment.
He wasn't saying that.
He was saying that. If you listen to the context of the conversation, I don't know if Dinah can pull it up.
When I talk about the full context of what Kamala said on the griot about the reparations thing, then it's like, oh, well, she said, she wasn't going to do anything specific for black people. But then when it comes to these right-wing Kunarians that y'all like to exalt so much, then, we got to put it into context. You see how hypocritical that is?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
I'm saying before, when all these Kunarians that are online, right, that say that when Trump says certain things, or when people on the MAGA side say certain things, that was taken out of context. They were just joking. But when I say that Kamala was trying to say other things besides saying that she wasn't going to do anything specific for black people, then it's like, let's just take that clip and run with it.
Dre, she was very clear. She said she's not.
She was very clear.
That's a 4-second clip that y'all took out of context.
No,
Dre. There was no other context. It was question was asking the answer.
She was also on the Breakfast Club.
Dre.
when
I
she was
played
interviewed
that
by Charlamagne
entire
the God, and
interview
she
like
said that she
20
supports
times on the
reparations.
show. Let me pass the mic to Jonathan. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Can I say that real quick?
Let me pass it to Jonathan. Go ahead, Jonathan. Unmute yourself, Jonathan.
Yeah, I came up because the brother Dre was just saying a whole bunch of nonsense shit. And I still want him to provide that information that black people are at the bottom. Because I looked at everything from government statistics all the way on down that says we're not at the bottom of anything. So I want Dre to pull that shit out from wherever he got it from and produce the facts. Because it's bullshit.
No, it's not bullshit. I know what the fuck
Produce
I'm
the
talking about.
facts. I can go to the Department of Labor and show at the worst black
And
people
is that data
served
disaggregated? Is
in this
that
country.
is it disaggregated between black Americans? No. Let's have that conversation
Brother,
because
we got that
I
conversation
noticed that
too.
you
We got
I
that
noticed that
conversation
y'all
too.
like to lump us all in the same
African Americans in
category. And what I'm saying is
California,
that we
on
need to
average,
disaggregate the
make
data, and you'll see that black Americans are going to be at the bottom
$38
of
an
that
hour.
food chain or of
Nigerian Americans
the
on
hierarchy
average
when
in
you
California
compare all
make
other black people.
$20.07 an hour.
You said what?
It don't matter where you want to go with it. You're going to be disproven in every single way, no matter where you want to go with it.
No, I'm not going to
do
be
it in terms
disproven.
of ethnic group. You could do it in terms of racial group. No matter how you're going to do it, we're not at the bottom of anything.
That's not true. You're being disingenuous, and I already know you're being disingenuous.
No. I will give statistics that destroy what the hell you're saying, and I want you to come up with the bullshit statistics that you got.
And I bet you out of that population is not most black Americans. I bet you, because wait, let me tell you, in Miami, why is black people only worth $11? Black Americans only worth $11 in wealth. Can you explain that?
Okay. And so I guess you voted for Kamala because Kamala's gonna give y'all some more money and make it where you guys are what $20 in wealth. I mean,
okay, let me read this statistic to you.
Let me explain that. Let me explain that. Listen, the thing is that anything for lack of wealth for African Americans is mostly our fault. It's not the policies.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's disingenuous. Like I said, y'all are nothing but coonarians on the internet that just spew out a bunch of disinformation and just really hate black Americans. That just face it, you hate black Americans. You don't want to be in favor of us. Y'all are not pro-black. Y'all are not pro-black. Okay, brother, explain why Boston ADOS people are only worth $8 in median household wealth. Explain that. Oh, is it because it's our fault? Or is it because we don't have opportunities for employment?
Brother, where the hell do you get your information from? Where are you getting this shit from?
All right, let me say this. Okay, when you say about black people weren't doing well Jim Crow, like I agree with Chris and them. No, you're wrong. You go to the history of Britannia on the website. While I was studying the Reconstruction era after the Civil War, African Americans were the most educated, had the most wealth, and had the most family structure compared to our European counterparts. After slavery, we were great. We literally had our own stuff. We were.
Oh yeah, that's right. When we were lynched, when we were lynched, and when we had all these divisive laws. Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, you know, keep going.
Listen,
I mean, because you said Jim Crow was just this utopian, era that we were in, and everything was just thriving. Even though Wall Street got destroyed and everything. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and tell those lies. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I didn't say there were no election, brother. You gotta pay attention. I'm saying it's the fact that it was because of racism, the overt racism made us want to be. It made us appreciate each other. It made us love each other and gave us a better agenda of what we need to do for ourselves. That's what
I think y'all are romanticizing Jim Crow. I think that's really what it is. At the bottom,
it was the elements of their time. Come on, even pain can give you a better direction what we need to do. That's just reality. And the sad part is, like I said earlier, this election exploited how the black community is so divided based on political ideologies that doesn't help the black community. We have too much emotion and not enough logic. Like Mexican, I told Mexican Condor, his community voted just what's best for them. They don't have to like Trump. He can go to hell for all they care about. All they care about what's best for them. That's it. no emotion,
Yeah,
no
everybody's
attachment,
self-interested.
nothing.
I'm not saying you're wrong about that. Everybody's self-interested, and that's the reason why I said that we have no allies.
Okay, let me pass it to We Winning. Go ahead, We Winning. We Winning. Unmute yourself, We Winning.
Y'all hear me?
Hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I'm just
Hey,
laughing.
you're real low and muffled.
All right. Can y'all hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just laughing at all these liberals hyperventilating. Boy.
I'm not a liberal, by the way.
Not talking about you. I'm talking about real life, man. People are literally losing their damn minds, bruh. It's just funny how people act like this man wasn't president before. They act like the man didn't have the Supreme Court in his favor before. It's just it's funny, but it's really disheartening, man. Because it shows you that a lot of these people is willing to let the fundamental fabric of America break down just because the media either told them something or somebody said something that, like, a lot of he say, she say, not enough law interpretation. You know, I'm really getting plain when it comes to situation of setting more business and figuring out where is the money going to in the stock market. But brother Dynast, man, I just want to say thank you for your vote. And thank you for anybody that had a situation where they thought for themselves and not the media. And that's pretty much it, man. I ain't going to be very long-winded, Brother Dynast. You have a blessed one. Everybody have a blessed one, man. Peace.
But even when you talk about the population of black men who voted for Trump.
Let me pass it to Elvis. Go ahead, Elvis.
All right. Thank you, Dynast. Look, I mean, this is one election, right? Let's not make a big deal out of it. You know, it's like when it comes to politics in the United States, it's like sports teams. You know, if you come from the hometown team and your team loses, some people get angry. They want to burn down the city. People cry. So politics is like that. There's a lot of emotions. People are emotional. And I don't think it's because Trump is simply a Republican. You know, the things that he said, you know, the things that he's done, a lot of people look at it, at least decent folks, they don't think that a person like him should be president of the United States. There wasn't this kind of outrage when George W. Bush became president, or Ronald Reagan, or other Republican presidents, because most Democrats can live with a Republican president. They may disagree with that person ideologically, but they understood that this is most likely a decent person, but they have a different political leaning than I do, or a different political ideology than I have. So I think for most people, they see Trump as a pariah. They see him as a misogynist, a bigot.
Elvis, if I can interject, you said most people. Trump won the popular vote, so most people don't see him that way.
I mean, Dynast, if you want to argue, that's fine. I'm not here to argue with you.
I'm just saying he won the popular vote. So
yeah, that's fine. But the point is, the majority of America didn't vote in this election. There wasn't 320 million people that voted.
So, Elvis, you have to go off the facts. The facts are he won the popular vote, period.
Yeah, Donald Trump lost the popular vote twice, 2016 and 2020.
But he won it this time. So
yeah, he won it this time. So
yeah,
you know, let's be. I mean, you want to jump on me? I can pass the mic. I'm not here to argue. I'm not in that mood to argue.
Let me say this. I'm gonna pass the mic. Kamala Harris is more seen as a pariah because of the election results. But go ahead.
No, like other people have said is, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You know, like James Carville says, the economy's stupid, and for most people, that was the top issue. And again, I won't argue that point because I've already said it. But it was an incumbent election. It was a referendum on an incumbent, and Kamala is looked at as an incumbent, being that she's vice president for this current president. So for me as a Democrat, I'm a Democrat through and through. Democrats are going to re-strategize, come up with a better game plan for 2028. And let's see how that goes. I mean, we're not sitting here crying. The white people were crying and telling everybody that they would never win another political election after Obama won a couple times. And they were in crisis. The Tea Party formed. They were trying to do everything they could do to try to beat the Democrat again. So it's always like this. Once the pendulum swings, one party would feel like the war is coming down. the sky is falling, and and it's all hell break loose to try to regain political relevance, it's gonna swing back to the Democrat, and again, eventually it will swing back to the Republicans. This is how American politics is. So when people try to make these broad statements that it's done, it's over, it's never over. Things change. If the economy goes well, most likely Republicans will probably retain the presidency in 2028. If things fall apart, we could have a different story. So it all depends on how things go. So for those of us who are Democrats, it's a loss, and we are disheartened by it. But we keep our head up with a stiff upper lip, and we wait for 2028, which we strategize better policies, focus on key demographics, like the guy was saying with Hispanic. I think Democrats are going to switch focus there. And as Black people, especially for some of us who are Black immigrants, we are not top two, maybe not even top three when it comes to demographic in this country. So when Kyla is saying things like the Black vote is so important without the Black vote, no, the Black vote has been diminishing in both population and in relevance in terms of what's immediately needed to help the communities in this country. So for me, it's not the end of the world. It's a loss, sure. We're sad by it, but we know that there will be 2028, and we'll run on Trump's record come 2028. So no big
So
deal.
so currently, right now, the Republicans won the House, the Senate, and have the Supreme Court. What are the and the White House? So what are the Democrats? What do you foresee the Democrats doing differently to?
Well, again, it's 2 years. It's a long time. A lot of things will happen politically. In 2 years, you'll have a midterm election. Usually the incumbent loses either one of the houses in the midterms. And again, it all depends on how Trump governs. If he does everything that most people are expecting him to do, he can retain the House and the Senate. But if the economy is not doing so well, if certain things are going, against him, if there's still war in the Middle East, if things are starting to escalate on a global stage, all of those things that went against Biden could switch and go against Trump. So it's all about the optics and the politics of the day, especially on a global level. So the midterms is around the corner in 2 years, and Democrats will be even more motivated, especially those people who maybe sat out this election. And the way Trump governed will probably motivate them to get back out there and try to change the seat of power. So we'll see.
All right, Chris, you want to add anything? Okay, Black Line, go ahead, Black Line. Meet yourself, Black Line.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no. In a way, I respect what Mr. Elvis Morris was saying. I respect, to a certain degree, he's right. The political parties are like a sports team. We win, we win. We lose. Regardless, like I said, for me, I said this. Like I said, I didn't vote because, like I said, it's gonna get down to who's gonna the average American is worried about the high level of mass illegal immigration, the unemployment, and sending our money to Ukraine and other nations without permission, especially when we're struggling. The ones who mentioned those things the most, that was going to be the winner. And unfortunately, the other side, the Republican Party said Trump said the most. That's just what it is. What it is. But regardless who's in office, that shouldn't stop us for what we need to do as a community. Period. And like I said, I'm glad this election did happen. Like I said, it exploited a lot of problems within the community itself of how we're not organized whatsoever. And that's something we need to discuss, because the one thing I noticed is like the fact is a lot of us haven't accepted the reality that the Democrat Party who portray themselves as the angels of Jesus, who are not racist, they don't see color, they just want to be the fixers of everything. When in reality, they're just as corrupted and just as racist and just as corrupted as they portray themselves not to be. And I think that's the mental shocker. That's when the cognitive dissonance kicks in and makes them want to see that. Like we always like thing is, in a way, the Republican Party or even Trump or the people in that party gets respect to a certain degree. And they do become disrespectful. Why? Because they always been honest who they are. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us have it's like the fake friend versus the real friend. Do you want a fake friend do you want a friend who keeps it real to you and respect him for his honesty? Or you want that fake friend who says they're your friend, but they stab you behind the back? And like which would you rather have? You have to make that choice. So that's the reality. So there's a lot of things the Black community is going to have to go through like it's like Elvis said, the next election to a serious degree, because it proves how we're not ready for real unification or real change, because there's too many of us who are individualized over some ideology that might not be good for us in the long term. But like I said, I think it's just time for a change. We like hell, we might do better in this. We might do better in these 4 years. Who knows? It all depends
Right.
on us.
And
It all depends on us.
1 second, Black Lion. I don't know if any of you guys was alive during Reagan's election win. I mean, it was a bloodbath in terms of election, and everybody thought that's where the country was going when Reagan won that election. It was a landslide election, historically, a landslide, even more than what Trump did. And still, the pendulum swung back to the Democrats. You had Clinton after that. You had Obama. So again, let's not be carried away. Sometimes issues will swing the pendulum one way, and sometimes something may happen that is unforeseen right now as we're talking. But definitely politically, something will happen that will switch it back to the Democrats. But I think, like everybody said, the strategy moving forward, black people, I think the black vote is diminishing, and that's partly based on the population, and secondly based on no pressing issue for black people right now. I hate to say on a national level. Some people will say, well, reparation is necessary, but black people are not looking for immigration status. They're not fighting for quote unquote welfare or Section 8 housing. That's a stereotype that most black people are not fighting for. Most black people are middle class in this country. They're mostly comfortable. And just to correct you, Black Lion, there's not a high unemployment rate. The thing that's hurting the Democrat is the inflation. We have almost a record level of unemployment right now in the country, but inflation is high, and most people are feeling it on the micro level, on a personal level when it comes to their finances. But overall, when you look at the micro, the bigger economy, the economy is doing pretty well, very well, relative to other countries, big economies in the world. So that's the issue. It's the optics of it. I think maybe even on immigration, it's even worse. And hopefully Trump can do something about it. Maybe now that they have both houses, they can get away with the catch and release, put something that's more substantial and more, sweeping on immigration. And that way, the Democrats will come, if they do come back into power, they can obey the law and follow a more stringent, immigration law that Trump hopefully will pass through the House and the Senate and sign into law. So that means no immigration coming through the border for asylum. All of the things that he spoke about, he has the power to change it now. It just takes political will. If he does it, it makes the country a better place. And that way, when Democrats come back into power, they can continue to follow those immigration laws. So that's all.
No, I respect that. I really respect that. Like for me, at the end of the day, like I say this, my race is first. You guys, anyone's on the panel, right? For me, race, y'all, you guys and my community is first. The Democrat Republican parties are second or third. Nobody's had my people first. Fuck that. Because at the end of the day, we still got to look out for each other. So yeah, let's not let this election, regardless who wins in office or in the next 4 years, be the main reason we got to be separate. Race first, like other communities, race is first. Every other community thinks that way. We need to start being that way too.
So what do you think? Why do you think the Hispanic, especially Hispanic men, voted so heavily for the Republicans in this election?
Because the left, I mean, well, Mexican Condor was just on here because the left went too far left.
Exactly. Actually, I want to add to that. Well, Donald was right, but I want to add to that. The problem is, I remember one time, like the majority of every ethnic group here in this country, especially as a lot of us we're more conservative. We're not as liberal as we think we are. And one time, I remember one time, Phil Scott, he met on Diaspora News Channel. He had a good point though when he said, I think a couple years ago, he said, you guys pushed it, like when they pushed in, like I said, the illegal immigration, the LGBT agendas, the feminist agendas, all this black girl, all these female empowerment crap, all this stuff. I agree with what he said. He said no ethnic group pushed this in any community. Nobody asked for all this. We're not even sure what the benefits are you allowing these into the American society for. And now you see 2024, look at the results of it. It's gotten too far. Now, especially the emasculation of in America now is serious. Even psychologists in the white community are calling how men are being emasculated in TV shows, schools, and everything. And we're supposed to be the leaders and providers. We're not being respected in that form. And to a certain degree, I can understand why people, like especially in the Hispanic community, where masculine is heavily respected at. And they have that in their family structures. A lot of us in our community can't see that because we have a broken family structure. We can't see it. Like when black people start be more friends and be involved in like more friends with different ethnic groups, like on the Chinese or Mexican and everything. Go if you're friends with any of the different ethnic groups, go in their household, learn from them, understand why, so understand their values and what they have, and understand why their community is doing so well. It's not rocket science. We don't want to understand that because we're so close-minded and we were raised in a dysfunctional household, and that's a good amount of us were raised in that lifestyle, so we can't see that. And I hate how people are now, especially some black liberals, are attacking the Hispanic community because of what they voted for. It's like that's their fucking business. That's our concern. And we were in their household, and we were raised in that same lifestyle. We were originally Republican first.
Black line.
Historically, with the black family structure, we'll be voting like them no different from this today.
The Republican Party today is not the same as it was.
No, go ahead. Do you think the Democrat has ever lost a cultural war in America?
They just did. We just did.
I mean,
they
no.
The thing is,
16. They did.
Just 1 second, Dennis. Let me explain why I'm saying this. Right in the 1970s, in the 1980s, even the 1990s. When people talk about gay marriage or other things that you think the conservative were against, they eventually lost those battles. They eventually did. So even if you think this election, like I told you about Ronald Reagan, when he came, when he won that landslide victory, they never win the cultural wars. Even on abortion, right? People talk about abortion. There was 9 states that had abortion on the ballot to be a constitutional right in that state. 7 out of the 9 states won by over 50+%. Florida even almost passed it. There was 3% short because they have a 60% threshold. So again, the cultural issue that you think most Republicans are against on a ballot initiative, most of the time they pass it. Even on the issue of gay marriage, a lot of people are in favor of it on the national stage. So I think this is not a cultural issue that you guys are trying to portray to be. It's more of an economy and immigration issue.
No, Elvis. So Trump already said that men are going to be men, women are going to be women. He's gonna address those borders, but like I said, the left got too far left. Men aren't allowed to play with sports. He already said that. So yeah, y'all lost the cultural war.
No, no. I don't care about the whole men playing in women's, but those are, like I said, those things are not things that I even care about. But I'm just giving you a synopsis on the history of it. You remember there was a time in this country where, for example, gay people were closeted. Many of them wasn't, probably gay. Nowadays, you look at places like Atlanta, San Francisco, they're all over this country. You have Dick Cheney, who's a Republican. His daughter married a woman,
Elvis,
So again,
those places were always gay.
no, I'm just telling you that the fact is these things were suppressed at one point in time, and not even very long ago in this country. But eventually, the country progresses, and these things become normalized. Again, I'm not in favor of transgender or men playing in women's sports, because on a personal level, that's something that I don't even deal with here in Minnesota. But my point is, just looking at the history, these things always tend to creep up and become normalized in the society. So there's never been an issue that Republican has been against, that they've maintained their position. It's always gone against them in terms of the cultural issues.
But Elvis, you are aware that whenever the opportunity has been put to the voters, gay marriage has always been banned. We banned it in California. It was the Supreme Court that came and overturned it and said that they had the right. But we banned it. They banned it in New York. They banned it everywhere.
Yeah, I remember that vote. It was less than a week after they turned over, less than a week when California said no. So yeah, the cultural war, like I said, the liberal freedoms and for Democrats. It's understandable to a certain degree, but like I agree with Dynas, it has gone too far to a point where even basic family structure households are not looked as legitimate anymore. It's looked at more as a trend or a choice now. It's not as respected like it used to be. Like they gone too far with so much stuff that didn't need to be tried to be normalized. Like the average American.
So, do you believe that gay couples, destroy the black family or destroy straight families in general?
Of course.
Really?
That's what you believe?
Majority of Democrats are straight. Majority of
Let-
Democrats are straight.
Let me.
But
let
I
me
know
say
a lot of times in these Afrocentric circles, they always say that, the gay agenda is designed to weaponize against the black family. You hear those, talking points a lot. So I just wonder if what people were.
There are more homosexual in the Latino communities, more so than even the gay community.
May I ask this, family? This will be brief. And
let me say, multi-generational mulatto. Go ahead.
Thank you for passing me the mic. It'll be brief. To the brother Dre W, I have a question. With all due respect, why do you support the Democrat Party, where the Democrat Party is literally, they have flooded this nation with millions of different ethnicities that now outnumber African Americans, which decreases the voting power of African Americans in a democracy?
You said why I support the Democratic Party? Well, for one, I am registered as an independent, but the reason why I leaned a little bit more blue was because of the fact that I felt like Trump's plans were not really in favor of me and in my community. So that's the reason why I did that. But I really did not want to even shift blue because I felt like both parties were, full of shit. But the third, because basically third parties are not as viable in elections. So if they were to be more viable, I would have probably voted more like Cornell, for Cornell or maybe Jill Stein, one of those. But it puts you between a rock and a hard place when it comes to this the two-party system, and that's the unfortunate thing about America is that once we dismantle the two-party system, maybe things will be much better, and we can give other parties more opportunities to run the country instead of just only doing this red versus blue crap.
Yes, and just for the record, do you acknowledge that the Democrats' mass immigration agenda has disempowered the African American vote numerically?
You said the mass immigration. So you're basically saying that the Biden administration is allowing a lot of immigrants here, just in all these numbers, just without any type of way to deport some of them at least. Is that what you're saying? Because I mean, they actually said that immigration is going down right now. So I mean, I don't know if they're wrong or if they're.
Brother,
Obama deported more people even than Trump.
Exactly, but not Biden, and that's the point I'm making. Mathematically,
Obama
mass immigration
deported a lot of people, but he brought in a lot of people. He didn't deport
as well.
more people.
Obama created DACA. Exactly, that was a good point, brother. And the DACA, the kids that grew up on DACA, they're able to vote now. So that's my point. Democrats have created a paradigm where the African American vote is numerically disempowered due to mass immigration, or the black vote is less powerful now numerically. Is the point I'm making.
I'll say this: like I said, live in California like I am. Go to Chicago and New York, and then ask the people living in these states how they feel about it. That period.
Exactly.
I was going to say I live in Massachusetts, so it's very close to. I mean, the liberal side is. I think it's so far gone. From someone who has been a Democrat for a long time, and I actually separated ways when Barack Obama's first time running. Because I always said in my mind, I think the Democratic Party was always self-sabotaging, and it just got increasingly worse. The turning point for me was when Hillary Clinton pretty much threatened Barack Obama's life during the Democratic primary. In many senses, if she didn't win the election, and that to me gave me a glimpse of how self-destructing the Democratic Party was going to become. Fast forward, Bernie Sanders. Fast forward, Biden. Then we have this catastrophic failure with Harris. And then what you're starting to see is the true covers of the Democratic Party. It's always, to me, I've always seen this corporate elitists the highly intellectuals are really running um, the show, right? You have the intellectual elite and the power of the intellectual elite, and they go hand in hand, especially Harvard University. And I see why now the so-called working class doesn't want to be associated with them because their views have gone too far extreme.
Let me read the super chat. Only does anyone know why were immigrants brought in? Was there a need?
Yes.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
to replace the black vote.
No, I don't think it was that.
That's part
I
of
mean,
it.
I don't think it's true that undocumented
100% the
immigrants
reason.
are actually having the right to vote.
I'll say this. Like, here's the thing: there's so many abandoned cities over in America, but did anybody explain why they weren't put in the abandoned cities and build up those cities from scratch instead of playing mostly black dominated spaces? Because I don't see them white in neighborhoods at all, but they're mostly in the black communities.
Do you think there was an immigration crisis under George W. Bush?
No,
There
I'll say
was. That's why he did the catch and release policy. The difference is the people in Texas wasn't busing and putting people on planes to send them to to the blue states, quote unquote, so that they could use it for political gain. That's the difference. There
No,
was such a
Elvis, the difference is unchecked immigration has never been this bad.
it has never been this bad.
Never.
No, actually, before the Trump administration left, or after Trump left, I mean, immigration did go up. So, or just before
under Biden.
Just before. No, wait a minute. Just before Trump.
I got the numbers.
It actually went up.
Immigration under
Biden. There's something that correlates with that, Dynasty. There's always something that correlates with an influx of immigration in this country, whether it's war or unrest in the region. You see a lot of people flocking to the United States now. Like most people agree, the asylum law should be more stringent. It should be more more vetting. You need to hire more people to process these cases and more judges to adjudicate it. And those are the things that was in the bill that the Republican proposed, not the Democrats. Glenn Youngkin, not Glenn Youngkin, but one, I think it was a senator or representative, proposed a comprehensive immigration bill that both Democrats and Republicans wanted to sign. But Trump told them, no, don't sign
that's
that
not
bill.
true. That is not true. I'm telling you from a law enforcement perspective, that is not true. I'll say this. I think when I look at the CDC numbers, I look at the tax base, there are two things that correlate. The United States is not having children. That is one. Number two, there's not enough tax receipts economically to support the incoming of future expenses for the United States. When it comes to the actual border itself, which the Border Patrol falls under the executive branch, having friends who worked on Border Patrol, having people who were basically participating building the wall, one thing I can definitely tell you, that when Biden got into office, he hit an executive order to stop and cease all operations on the border. The funding, the bill itself, one of the biggest issues was actually identifying what immigrants were coming across the border. That CB1 app, that was to me was a sham, because anyone who came and just filled out an alias name XYZ, next thing you know, get to the border, they say this is my little verification of who I am. You don't even know if they're criminals. You don't know where they come from. You're not even, and there were so many things that were so bad about that border bill. This is why you had Democrats from Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren, who's super liberal, Markey, super liberal, voted against it, because you have no sense of control of actually who's coming in. And that's one of the biggest problems, because when it gets to a point where you see the Biden administration say, okay, cease and desist everything, have all Border Patrol guys just process people, and then you're saying, okay, the whole mother and children thing. I can tell you from friends who work on the border, you have a guy from Africa with a Chinese kid saying, that's my son. This is real shit. And next, you come to find out this little motherfucker is shipping drugs. They are moving so much weight through the border. This is why, like, if you look at a lot of the liberal states, the fentanyl crisis is through the roof. And it gets to a point where we need to call it for what it is. There are things that I'm sorry, this administration it dropped the ball on. They thought this was we can make this utopia, we can create this. It was it was a catastrophe. So when it comes to this thing about what under Bush and all these other things, under the Bush regime, you have to understand, the United States wasn't economically unstable. You had a sense of security. You had other things that weren't too out of control. Now, when you look at the dynamic with this administration, things are very out of control within a short period of time. And I think for me, and some may agree, that this administration, which we thought Biden was going to be the guy of restoration, the guy who had all these years of experience, the guy who can bring America into a better direction, it was it was catastrophic. National security, defense, wars, inflation, immigrant. It was just a combination of, I don't even know what they were doing, just to be honest with you. Some of the things, some of their policies never, I don't even know what they thought. And I'll just end it on that.
Biden has some successes, and certainly he has some failures or some lapses. The reduction, the Inflation Reduction Act was a brilliant piece of legislation which helped to bring down inflation
Brother,
from hold on, from the record high that it was under Trump when he left office.
hold on,
And again,
brother.
no fault of his own, because COVID, we know what COVID did to the economy, to many economies in the world.
Okay.
So that Inflation Reduction Act was very important. Was heading for a recession. Most people don't know
No,
that it
that is,
was.
brother, I'm going to be
Yeah,
respectful.
the Biden
I'm going to be,
administration
Has
inherited
anyone
inflation
seen the
from the Trump
difference from the
administration.
Inflation Reduction Act?
brother, can I say this respectfully? Have you read the Reduction Act? Giannis, if you can actually pull up the Reduction Act, I'm not saying go word for line, word for word, but if you're telling me that legislation, which has nothing to do with inflation or reduction, this is where, like, I think people need to relook at the fine print before we're speaking on things that, because I've read that entire bill, it has nothing to do with reduction in inflation. It has nothing. All I saw was green energy policies, all this thing of we're gonna pay for this. This had nothing to do with actual price controls or imports. It had nothing to do with that, brother.
There's two bills. There's the Build Back Better bill, and there's the Reduction Act that was passed by both houses.
Have you read the
Because
entire bill?
Carlo, I mean,
Have you
Elvis, when
read the
did
entire
spending
bill?
more money and printing more money decrease inflation? When has that ever happened?
you said
When does
I
that
mean,
happen?
Jonathan, you say this, and it's funny that you even say that as somebody who supports Trump. To even say that, that's a funny thing to say. How do
I'm
you think you got
asking.
those? No, hold on,
Is
hold on,
spending.
Jonathan. How do you think you got those two stimulus checks when Trump was in power?
Democrats in Congress, the majority.
Democrats in Congress. Democrats
Yeah.
had that. They controlled everything. They controlled
Elvis,
the
see,
House.
the Democrats are the
Look,
ones that wanted to take credit for that. Take the credit.
Yeah.
listen to what I'm saying.
But Trump tried to
Trump
put his name
printed
on it and
out a
try to make it seem
stimulus
like
bill, brought about the PPP plan. You know, those are up. That's printing money. That's giving money to people. The extension on unemployment, giving people extra money for kids. You know, the child tax credit. Those are all things that Trump, if he didn't agree with, if he was against inflation, he should have vetoed those
Yeah.
votes.
No, that's
But
No,
he
because
what
signed it into law
Democrats
because
wanted
he
okay,
knew.
people to stay home.
what
They wanted
president
people to
is going to
stay
go
home and
against
not
that?
work.
What president is going to go against after you shut down your
Oh,
economy?
so you say it makes sense then? It's because no
but
Yeah,
he
but
also
person in
put
the
made
no,
the
rational
hold
mind
checks
will
on.
go
so he could
against
put
it.
his name on them.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Right,
brother.
and he signed he signed those checks to
Yeah,
let
but
him know,
the
to let you
reduction
know
act
that
is
he was giving you money.
yeah, but
So
the
when you
reduction
say
act.
that printing money, inflates adds to inflation, I agree.
But yeah, but the
Yeah, I
reduction act is a
agree.
totally different
But
But
policy.
Elvis,
Trump did it a lot.
there's a difference between
And he's
inflation
going to drive
before
up
Biden
inflation
put
in
sanctions on
2025,
Russia
starting
and
2025,
sanctions
because of his
before Biden
economic
put
plan.
sanctions on Russia. Inflation before Biden put sanctions on Russia.
Yeah, you
When they
you
put
don't
sanctions on Russia, inflation went up
went through the
way
roof.
higher.
When you got 80% of your fertilizer coming from one country,
And you put sanctions on that
and you
country,
put
that's dumb.
sanctions, you don't think that's stupid?
Bro,
It was stupid to put sanctions on Russia.
Bro,
Yes.
because liberals are dumb, bro. They're still mad that Trump won in 2016.
So they blame Russia for it. So these blood hungry
Yes.
liberals, they want war with Russia. But I wish we would send these clowns to war because the problem is if there's any war that break out, unfortunately, it's going to be the conservative men fighting it while the
Yeah.
liberal men in their tutus and these they thems are sitting at home trying to look pretty. This is why
Brothers.
a lot of men went for Trump, man. We're not listening to these
I mean,
No.
foreign immigrants who don't have the
this
American
guy,
interests best at heart. We don't listen,
if
y'all. That's why
How
you
many?
got blown
if
out,
you
bro.
come on
You
if you
came
come
to
on
this
the
country and
panel
got
looking for a
blown out,
fight, you're
bro.
gonna get a fight.
You came to this country and
Nobody is
nobody
hollering.
listened to you, bro. You
Li-
came here acting like you got the pulse of the American. Well, we destroyed you. We say, shut your ass up. You don't know
let,
I
what you're
mean,
how
talking
many
about.
you're
brothers?
too
That's to
emotional,
talk
bro.
about that the
We're
border
having
wasn't a problem. We said,
Let me
shut
ask
your
y'all.
a
ass up.
regular
It
conversation.
is a
Don't
problem,
bring
bro.
that nonsense here, bro. We're
No,
not
bro,
here to
because
argue
y'all
with
act
you.
like y'all know
Relax.
what you're talking about.
Let me say.
Dynasty,
Let
you
me.
got to control the show. This is not a day for us
Oh
to be
well,
arguing.
he just can't. We want to hear T. Go ahead, T. T. You're breaking up though, T. But go ahead. T. You're breaking up. T. You're breaking up.
He must be driving or something.
These liberals are out of touch, bro. They gaslight the whole country. They waited 3 years to do something about that border. And then
Yeah.
as soon as they found out it's a crisis, then they want to act like they want to do something about it. But they kept that border open. And now that I'm seeing the reason why they wanted the border open is to be, in my opinion, they wanted to, they wanted to replace the white vote, in my opinion, because if you see all those white folks that went for Trump, they really want to replace the white vote. But what they're not understanding is that minorities, Asians, Indians, and Latinos, they're all starting to vote for Trump too because people are voting for the economy, man. We're not trying to sit there and vote for trans women playing in sports and all these stupid social agendas. Just look at how the Democrats talk to people, man. They got Michelle Obama out here telling women to don't listen to their men and to vote
It's
against their
elitist.
men. Just the
Very.
elitist.
Yeah.
And then you
It's
got
very
all these
elitist.
celebrities siding with the Democrats. Think about it. All these billionaires, y'all have to ask yourself, why are all these billionaires and celebrities siding with the Democrats? These people are out of touch.
It's so out of
That's
touch.
that's the issue. So no, y'all are gonna lose, and don't try to sit there and scare us about Trump because none of y'all's Trump predictions came true. Y'all said he was gonna put us back in chains and deport black people who was born in this country. None
This
of
nigga's
y'all's
crazy.
predictions came true. Y'all try to arrest him to put a stain on his name to stop people
He's
from
not
voting for him.
president yet.
That's why y'all lost.
Oh,
I'll say this. Most of us, if you were born in this country, or even have citizenship, what most men have to do selective service. So, with that being said, if this country was on a precipice of war, everyone is getting pulled. And one of the things that I've seen with the Democratic Party, and one of the things that was disturbing for me, when you see Dick Cheney jump on the bandwagon of Kamala Harris and say that, you know what, it's we need to maintain the Democratic oath. And I'm looking at this shit, I'm like, you talking about the Prince of Darkness, the man who had no problem sending many young millennials into war with no shame for profiteering, all these crazy things. But Trump says, I don't want to do this war shit anymore. I don't want sending children. I don't want, and it gets to a point where if you've been around long enough, and you've seen a lot of brothers, males, females go to war, and you see the ramifications, and you know this thing was going on for 20 years, you're gonna be like, this shit's a sham. And anyone supporting it is crazy to me.
I'm so glad you brought up Liz Cheney, bro, because you got to understand a lot of these warmongering Republicans under the Bush administration are all lying behind the Democrats. And you have to ask why. Like, what is in their interest to keep the Americans fighting these wars? Not a single one of us can see the benefits of these wars, except for the elite. Unless you work in like the
Lockheed
weapons
Martin,
industry, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. They are
Northern Group,
benefiting off of your deaths. They're
right.
benefiting off your taxpayer money, and they want the war with Russia. They're going to make so much money, and I'm not
Hell
going to
no.
sit there and be drafted because a bunch of idiots who are still upset with Trump winning in 2016 and blaming Russia wants to send me to war. Hell no. Y'all
T.
need to lose and take this out. Check this out, bro. We may get the House. if we get the House, I don't
No,
even
we
think
got
we
both.
need these Democrats for anything.
Republicans have. This is how bad the Democrats lost. They lost the House, the Senate, and people forget they've even lost the Supreme Court.
Oh hell yeah!
This is what.
So
This is
how
why I
is that
look
going to
at.
benefit black people?
How's it benefit black people?
Yeah,
Most
how
black.
does
Okay, let's
having a
keep.
GOP Supreme Court
Let's
It
be
may
honest
not be
here.
a.
and
Hold on. Let me speak on this. Most black people are actually conservative. If you ask
yeah,
most black
conservative,
people,
socially
yeah, no,
conservative,
no, no,
but
no, 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 no,
politically
no, no. Let me break this down.
liberal.
Hold
It's
on.
going to benefit you because the Supreme
Let's
Court ain't going to take away your
hold
First
on.
Amendment right.
First of all, let's break it down from
Not
a
true.
constitutional perspective. A lot of Democrats talk about free. We can't let. We talk about democracy. To me, this last administration has basically stepped on democracy. If you speak against LGBT or the alphabet community, you're chastised. If you have any voice of opinion, you're blacklisted. If you do not agree with the far left, you saw what they did to that Harvard woman, the president, because she didn't answer a direct question about the whole situation in Gaza. I have never seen any Republican administration do the level of chastising and basically bully pit to their own constituents over a difference of opinions.
Oh, they're doing it now. I mean, Trump even said that he's going to send out the military to his enemies. So, I
But
mean, just
I
explain
mean,
that.
but hold on, hold on,
Everything
hold on, hold on, hold on.
that Trump went around grabbing women by the vagina, bro. God, cause y'all
No,
are so
he said it.
emotional, bro. None of y'all's
No,
predictions
he
came true.
said it, but he didn't
Name
do it.
one
I didn't say
prediction
that.
of
Hold on.
Trump that was world ending that came true. Name one of your
Okay,
liberal
okay.
predictions.
Let's
One.
be okay. We'll get okay. Look, I'll say this.
You do
Okay,
all these
so what?
tactics that don't even come
Hold
true.
on. So okay. So what if Trump said that, right? Let's say let's be. I'm gonna be me on this one. If I was in Trump position, I've been raided by the FBI. I've been manipulated by news on particular narratives that we knew, especially the Russia hoax. When they went, it was at a congressional hearing. They said it completely false. That's like what $40 million of taxpayer dollars. Then you go on social media. You have Mark Zuckerberg come out. All these elites saying, "Yo, we're being forced to censor information." Now, all I know is this: we're supposed to be in a democracy, but it's really a republic. If you are going after the president, what I've seen so many people on YouTube been censored, people who have been blacklisted. Tulsi Gabbard was put on a quiet watch list. This is a lieutenant colonel. She's been in the military.
But she put out a bunch
Never.
of misinformation. That's why.
No, brother. Hold on, brother. You are not inside those rooms. Just like,
Well, y'all
I
was
was saying.
misinformed
No, no,
because
no,
y'all
no,
lost.
no. Let me say this. Just like in law enforcement, military, there are things that happen behind the scenes that you will never know. There are things that policies, just like there are things that we have to do, just like everybody says, there's a reason why America sleeps well at night. So when you say misinformation, you're not there. You don't sign some of these, what do you call it, redacted books or black budgets. So when I see it from that perspective, it's just like at the end of the day, I don't need to know everything. But when I see that you're starting to do things that are basically muscling people for having a difference of opinion, and basically doing, like I said, the reason why I left the Democratic Party, as soon as I seen Hillary Clinton threaten Barack Obama's life, just like Robert Kennedy's brother when he got assassinated in California, I knew this party was a self-destructing party. And there you at. This is where we are right now, to the point where you still got Democrats talking about, oh, you know what? How you vote for a convicted felon? Oh, this bubble where you can't realize things are too expensive. People are losing jobs. People can't even send their kids to education. You get paid Friday, you're broke on Monday. I don't understand
Oh yeah,
how
Trump's going to
people.
make that worse too.
But brother, they bring the conviction. See, a lot of liberals, they think we're stupid. We understand that these stupid charges was only brought about to hurt Trump
All
politically.
those stupid charges
Because
was
think
trumped
about
up
it.
charges.
Jack Smith
Common
right
sense know
now,
that.
He is a
if these
convicted.
charges was legit, why would Jack Smith right now, he's winding down the Trump charges. They're
Yes.
finding out ways to drop his federal charges. Think about
Yeah,
this.
because
Because it's bogus.
you can't prosecute a
Trump is
sitting
a felon.
president.
Because it's that and it's bogus. Because you see, and check this out. Y'all waited. until the fourth quarter to bring the charges. Why? So y'all can ensue maximum political damage. But guess what? We saw through it.
Oh, they might
That's
put
why
him
we voted
behind
for
bars
him. We
That's
saw
ultimately.
not
all
that's
of your
not
blue
true.
states ensuing maximum. Y'all could have went after him 2 years ago. But y'all waited
No,
now to inflict harm on the American minds. And y'all
that's
thought we were
because they had to
stupid.
do their due
And y'all
diligence.
lost.
They're not just bringing arbitrary charges against him.
Hold on.
Talk
They
about
have been
charges with
appointed
the
by
porn
special
star against the
prosecutor.
first president. Get out of here. Nobody's going to listen to these porn
But I
stars.
told you this is why these
Porn
deranged
star
people.
charges. Get out of here. That ain't
I
serious.
gotta pass the mic. But you're all right because even here, everybody knew the
Get
charges.
this Kamala Harris supporter out of here.
I don't. No, we're not doing that. This is a free platform for everybody. But everybody knew the charges were bullshit, and that it really was confirmed once the whole Fannie Willis Nathan Wade shit that happened here in Atlanta. And so, Mariam, go ahead, Mariam. Unmute yourself, Mariam. Unmute yourself, Mariam. Unmute yourself, Mariam. Okay, I guess she's gone. All right. Brandon X, go ahead, Brandon. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm here, man. I hear these. I ain't got time for any of these Kamala Harris support because, as I said, most of my family support Democrat, and I was talking to all of them, and I was like, "Yo, you know what? As much as I mess with Trump, if he would ever do this to Biden or any of these people, and I see Trump doing, I would be the first one to be like, yeah, Trump is fucking up. I can't even vote for him because I'm the kind of person I hold my party accountable. Like if I see him going off of Biden, trying to lock Biden up, come up with all these trumped up charges, then he have all these station just telling lies, and then I'm like, why am I not seeing Joe Biden on TV? I watch Channel 2, no Joe Biden. Watch Channel 4, no Joe Biden. Watch Channel 11, and every time when they do show Joe Biden, it's always negative. And I'm like, I wonder if it's Trump people controlling these channels. The fact that I rarely see anything on just regular channel with Joe Biden being positive, I'm like, that maybe if I'm supporting Trump and this is what Trump team is doing, maybe I'm on the wrong side, because I don't think good people need to censor like their opponents so much and put a lot of misinformation out to the public at large. If you are doing good, I don't think if you're doing good, you need to do all this unnecessary stuff to your opponent if you're actually doing good. But if you're doing a lot of corrupt shit and you're taking away people's rights, you're pushing homosexual agenda, you're pushing man and woman sports, you're sending all the jobs overseas, you're doing everything negative, maybe you need to control what you think the American people are large to see. But once again, then, high gas, high rent, crime is up, less jobs, and then
That's not true. Crime
even
is
with
at a
all of that,
record low.
hold on, let me speak. Even with all of that, instead of you actually talking about policies and coming out and actually, you know what you come out, you come out and do, you know what, go get LeBron James, that almost $1 billion. Go get Oprah, that's almost $3 billion. Go get Megan Thee Stallion, that's the next million here. Go get Beyonce, that's almost working on $1 billion. So after me telling you that, your foot is on my neck. I'm hungry. I can't breathe. My neighborhood is struggling. There is no job. Gas is high. Food I can't buy. You said, forget about that. I don't give up. I'm going to put some million here in front of you and tell you, you need to listen to these million here because I have them there. They're puppet, as Malcolm X said. These people always have they puppet, these, what they call them? These, I forgot what Malcolm X called them. These so-called puppets that they have, that they give these contract, and they're overpaid. They don't represent 98% of the American people. They don't represent. They represent the 3%, and they're the one that they roll out and say, this is your hero. This is who you listen to. Forget about what you're going through. I know you're hungry. I know your neighborhood is unsafe. I know gas is high. I know rent is high. Forget about that. Listen to Beyonce. Listen to Oprah. Listen to LeBron James. Listen to listen to Spike Lee, listen to Megan Thee Stallion, listen to Carly B. So you're rolling out all these rich people and you're telling me to listen to them? And you're not going to do anything about policies in my neighborhood and gas and rent? You ain't going to talk to me about that? You're going to show
Trump
me these
never
million
discussed
here
policies like that. I
and
mean,
make me
all he
forget
said
that
was
I don't
things were
have the money
bad, and
that they
then I'm
have.
going to make them good.
That's false, brother.
You're
Because
going to make
No,
me
that's
forget
that's
I don't
true.
have the
That's
money that
true.
they have.
I
He
just
didn't really
find it
discuss
laughable
policies
that
like
this
that.
guy heard Trump on a phone call asking for votes illegally, and they think there's nothing wrong with that,
It's
and
not.
they prosecute him for that.
Elvis, go ahead, Miriam. Go ahead, Miriam.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw a monkey wrench in all this just because I noticed I was looking at a chart of the immigrants coming in, and I wonder, are they just making a big deal about it, and now we think it's a big deal, but it's nothing it's nothing out of the ordinary? Because in 2020 and before, it was like 1.6 million coming in. That's been happening. No one complained. I don't remember people
We got
complaining.
12 million illegal in the
I told
country.
you, yeah,
What
it
are
was
you
under the
talking
Trump
about?
administration where
It
the
went down
height of
during
immigrants
COVID.
There's
came in.
12 million illegal in the
It
country.
went down during
Let,
COVID,
let her finish. Let her finish. Go ahead, Miriam.
and then it
Go ahead,
kind of
Miriam.
surged up after COVID. Like, I wonder if it would have, if we didn't make a big deal about it, if it would have returned back to the regular amount that
Go
it's
back
been
and show me
happening.
time
And
when 12 million crossed the
Hold
border.
on,
There is no
Hold
time
on.
there was 12 million illegal in the
let her
country.
finish. Let her finish. Miriam, what was the number like in 2022?
let me go to that. In 2020?
2022.
2022? Okay, that's when it surged to 2.2 million.
Okay, a record high, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
But before that, like in
No,
2020,
but we can't ignore in 2022. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, in
They're trying to blame it
2020,
on Biden.
during COVID, I think the people who might have didn't, and maybe that accounts for the surge.
So, can I speak on this?
There were always those people there that were just waiting in Mexico. That's
So
all.
let me say this from a law enforcement's perspective. One of the issues that you had once Biden signed the executive order is that it's hard to account when you put everyone in processing. So he basically stripped down Border Patrol and basically made it it was like, how can I say this? It was like everyone trying to fit in one club. So they put all the security, said, all right, we just need to put them in one section, and everyone's trying to concentrate here versus you had different departments that had certain sections of the border. And mind you, people just think about the Mexico, the West Coast side. There's a massive illegal migration coming out of Canada that comes through Maine. This is one of the reasons why Maine, Vermont have a huge fentanyl issue.
And Texas.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Texas, that's one. But the thing about it is, once you have these executive orders to stream down your border security, there's so many undocumented people in the United States that even if you were able to capture, let's say, 1.5, there's a surge of an extra million. There's still a massive influx that you don't know. Because now, if everyone's basically had orders to say, instead of booking, finding out who they are, there's a special division called BORTAC. They do all the hits with the cartels within the border, and you remove those guys. I could tell you in Arizona, Casa Grande, that's like cartel transportation territory. And from my friends who are working out there, that thing has gotten so out of control because of the executive order and the funds that were stripped. No one knows what's going on. Nobody knows. That's what they account for. The issue is what they don't know. And you see it. Why would Texas put barbed wiring? I got friends who are working on the Texas border, and 90% of it's the state troopers, Texas state troopers. Although most of the resources are going on to the border.
Yeah, but Miriam, my question is, if it spiked in 2022, why why what were we trying to prove with your table or your numbers?
What I'm trying to prove is that I just wonder if they want us to focus on the border, but the border is a non-issue. It's like it's been going on like this for a while, and no one seemed bothered about it. But now that they need for us,
you have 12 million illegal coming
So
in
hold
just 4
on,
years.
Brandon,
That's
hold
the
on,
problem.
I mean, the immigration system has always been broken.
Hold on. So, Miriam, in 2022, when it went to an all-time high, you don't see a problem with that?
one second. I do see a problem. The year before, because of COVID, what's wrong with this? Okay. The year before, because of COVID, the numbers went down. So I'm just wondering if it's just the people who didn't go last year are going together with the people going that year. You know what I mean? Like it's like 2 years combined. I'm not saying it's not a problem or it is a problem. I'm just saying perspective.
Well, but the thing is, Mary, I mean, places like Chicago and places like New York, people are definitely saying on the ground it's a problem, especially in Chicago.
Yeah, I do see a lot more. Like I see them at Target parking lot, like asking for money or in the corner everywhere. I don't know. I just, but the numbers just don't seem like it's so
But
different.
No, the
I'll
thing
say
is,
this.
you're justifying bad behavior. You should be saying we should be what you should be disappointed is that you haven't seen one that there was only like 100 people pass, and then you should be saying, oh, I haven't seen it go down to 50 people pass. Then I haven't seen one then go down to only 10 people pass. Then you have one that said nobody got you. Be like, my God, they doing an amazing job. That's what you should be saying. Like, wow, they're
Right.
working on the
I
border.
agree. I agree. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just
It is
asking.
wrong.
I'm
It is
asking.
wrong. Period.
I mean,
Right. But
Miriam, those.
I'm being totally cerebral about it. I'm not being emotional about it, and I'm just wondering
It is
why
wrong.
is the attention
It's not
put
no
on it
being
now?
cerebral. Bad things happen when good people just stand by. Bad things happen to good people when good men just
I
stand by
mean,
and do
Oh
nothing.
boy, she said cerebral. That's what my go ahead.
well, you got to look at it from this perspective. If anyone on the East Coast in the liberal states, the fact that you look at, I'll use Chicago, and I'll use Massachusetts for example. The fact that you're creating massive deficits for illegal immigrants. The fact that Chicago's raising what $300 million on property taxes. I can tell you, Massachusetts had a close to, let's say, $800 million surplus. They had negative 66 million because of the immigrant crisis. New York City, the same.
New York City was 5 billion in just
Yes,
illegals. That's just this year alone.
right. And can you correct me? Because I've been around the Hudson River. They telling me they got basically tents and generators that are basically, they look like a mini camp for illegals that have food 3 times a day. They can play sports. They get shelter, housing, all types of things. From some of my friends who are NYPD, and they couldn't believe, like, where's this money coming from? Because the MTA is struggling to the point where I think they want to do some type of some tax. If you drive in certain parts of the city, they'll tax you for driving through it. Like, I mean, if it's not a problem, you wouldn't put the burden on the U.S. citizen. That's my theory.
Look, my biggest thing is Trump is there now. Let's have a comprehensive immigration bill that's going to curtail these flux of people coming in seeking asylum. Do away with the asylum laws. Don't let anybody come in through those borders, and I'm sure we'll have a better country. So let's hope that happens, right? Trump has all the levers to make it happen: the House, the Senate, the presidency.
Well,
So he should be able to do it.
All right, let me
I
pass
think
it. Let me
We
pass
could
it
be
to
in for
Jonathan.
the
Let
four
me pass it to
greatest year.
Jonathan.
You're
Let
right
me pass
about
it to
that.
Jonathan. I'm passing it to Jonathan. Go ahead, Jonathan. Let me show Jonathan. Then I'll pass it back to you, Brandon. Go ahead, Jonathan.
I walked away. Let Brendan go.
Go ahead, Brandon.
We could be in for the four greatest year. As I said, I don't care. Send all of them home. Like, people talking about, oh, you're going to separate. I don't care. You're not supposed to be here. Send them home and get back to focusing on the American citizens and at least focus on people that have green card that's here legally. Let's get back to the people that's actually paying tax. Take
yeah.
care of them. Give them tax break. Do stuff for their family. Pass some bills for people that's actually been taking care of this country. I'm worrying about the people that's been here paying tax and working paycheck to paycheck. If y'all have all this money to be giving these people $10,000 a month, there's people that been working here busting their ass, struggling with rent,
Man,
struggling with gas. Help them. At least
How do you
they've
know
been
they're not
here
going to
building the
denaturalize
country
the
up.
green cards?
they're not going, brother. I can tell you the level of, okay. I'll go back with the first immigration bill or the border crisis bill. Their biggest issue with the bill was they could not identify who was coming in. Everything else was a-okay. When you have, and the other problem with the bill was any future president who came on who wanted to make amendments to the bill, they would basically, that bill have amnesty. You couldn't do anything. That was the reason why that bill failed. It had nothing to do with
Hey,
liberals.
somebody's fighting with their phone. You gotta chill out. Go ahead. Go
It
ahead.
has, yeah, it has nothing to do with what bothered me about Kamala Harris. Whole Trump called his boys in the Republican Party. That's almost fucking impossible. Because if the man is the most alienated individual on the planet, no one's calling him for consultancy. So
So
this
how is
thing,
Trump's plan? How is Trump's plan better as in terms of deportation, knowing that it would hurt the economy in a way, especially when
no,
you
no,
talk
no,
about
that's not true,
agriculture,
brother. That is no, no,
construction, all of these other things. I mean, I'm
no, no,
not
no,
saying
no.
that they don't need to be deported. I'm saying as far as like a portion of the population.
Well,
And
But
I
how do
disagree
you
with
know that
you.
it's not going to
Hold
affect?
on. You're trying to tell me that America you're trying to tell me before Joe Biden got in office, you're trying to tell me America we wasn't working and jobs wasn't going. So you're trying to tell me because Joe Biden in his 4 years, no, the country not going to run because I get everybody else that Joe Biden lets in. What you're saying is stupid. The country will be
No,
just
okay.
fine.
So you're on a green card.
No, I'm a citizen.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that like how do you
Mo-
think his plan is just going to be much better? It's more radical, and I
Where are
don't
you
think
going to
it's a
send
well
them
thought
to?
out
I
plan.
don't care. Just
I
get them
won't.
out of here.
I'll say this in regards to planning. The issue is it's not about the legal immigrant. It is the illegal immigrant that has a criminal background. Because trust me, they know who got some rap sheets coming across
I
that
mean,
border.
Kamala said something about the transnational gangs. I
No,
mean,
bro, no,
those
no,
were
she
the
don't.
illegal ones
Hold on,
coming
brother.
here
Hold on.
as criminals.
Let me respectfully. If you look at Harris's track record in California when it comes to actual this notion on law enforcement, to me, it's crumbs. I always say she's just a she looks good for television because I can tell you a lot of law enforcement guys do not rock with her up there in Cali.
But
And this
how is a
whole
border
no,
wall going to really secure the border when you got tunnels, you got all of these other
no,
points of
brother, hold
entry?
on, let me
How is that going
finish.
to
Hold
actually
on,
fix
let
the
me
whole
finish. Hold on, first of all, let me say this.
border issue?
Let me give you a perfect example. There's a big difference between the Trump administration when it comes to law enforcement and the Biden administration when it comes to law enforcement. When you sign executive orders to shut down all activity and force Border Patrol to process people, that is a massive difference. You can't stop anything when you pull money from Border Patrol. Now, when Trump gets into office, I'm telling you, because he even went to the border, he spoke about he had 10 policies on
Kamala
his web.
Harrison literally said wanted to get rid of ICE. She
Bro, hold on.
literally said she wanted to get rid of ICE. This woman we need to deport her back to India.
Right?
She hate America.
She was born
So
here.
so let me say this. When you look at Trump's actual policy, he spoke about this at the border. He said mandatory if you're sex trafficking with drugs is mandatory death penalty. Minimum 10 years in prison, right? It's on his website. I have not seen anything equivalent to that harsh of a penalty on the Kamala Harris website when it comes to border security. He's publicly made this known. But Trump has never, as long as in his 4 years in office, has denied any resources, equipment to basically controlling the influx of illegal immigrants. And the biggest issue is white America doesn't like to talk about this. A lot of your white boys are dying from that fentanyl. And most white
But
men
there
are
are
getting
also
tired.
people here with mixed statuses as well. So I
No, no,
mean, what
that's
about the ones with the mixed statuses?
brother. You were trying to. This is the thing. You want to get into the minutia. That is going to have to go through the House and the Senate. They're going to filter out. But you're asking me on direct things when it comes to anything with underground tunnels, brother. That's all illicit activity, drugs. Most of those people are not trying to get basically have a gun to their family's head,
But how is a
and
wall
they come across.
gonna fix that though?
Dre, why do you care so much about these illegal immigrants?
I don't care about the
What's
illegal
your
immigrants.
biggest
I'm
beef?
just saying that like it's not a well
No,
thought
you
out
care a
plan. I
lot,
just feel
because
like
that's
it.
all you're talking about. You
Yeah,
care a lot.
because you're
There is
asking
a
me.
difference.
You
There's a
overly care.
difference, right? Those people who jump the border fence or come into the country using tunnels and don't check into a port of entry, those people are in here illegally. Those people who check in at a point of entry and ask for asylum and
That's
they're
a
let
whole
into the
different.
country and have to wait until they're processed, that's a different thing.
Different.
Now, if you can talk about the asylum laws being too porous and not tightly regulated, and these people are not being kept being tracked carefully, those are good. Those are valid questions. but it's legal to seek asylum in the United States. And most of the people that you see in these cities, those are people who came in through the ports of entry through Texas, Arizona, and other places, and were let into the country by the authorities because they were seeking asylum. Now you can say they're abusing the asylum system, which is true,
And I disagree
and I
with that
agree
too,
with that.
because a lot of those
But
people that
they're
left
not
in, they're not.
illegal on the
They said
face of
that,
it.
but they just
Yeah,
let them in.
they assume that all of
They
them are
need to
just coming
send
over
them
here as
back home.
criminals.
Period.
Yeah. Send them home, bro. They are overwhelming this country. I don't care about what Elvis is saying about the legality and all that nonsense to try to add it and make it look like it's not an issue. Americans are sick of it. We can't house the entire world. We just can't.
You
Send their ass
can't
back.
you
Like
Yeah,
can't
change
we
agree.
the
over here
change
letting
the
them.
policy.
They
It's
are. They
easy,
are. That's why we
No,
voted for
and Trump
Elvis.
is going
That's
to
why we
change the
voted for
policy.
Trump.
That's what
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
waiting for,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Elvis,
Yeah,
Exactly.
Elvis. Exactly.
El,
Because it is being abused, and
El,
we all know
Exactly.
that.
I agree with it
It
as being
is.
abused, but it's not illegal. That's
no,
the
that's
difference.
No,
It's
no, no,
illegal.
no. They
The
come in
problem,
It's
the
illegally
illegal.
and
problem
then
is,
No,
give them
if you go
asylum.
What
through a
about the
port of
Haitians?
entry and
no
you
T.
interact with an authority,
No,
immigration authority,
no. Let me
you're
tell you
not
what they did.
illegal.
Let me tell you what they
Elvis,
did.
they come here
They had
legally.
some
They
people at
have a
the
Right.
court
border,
date.
and
They
they were
don't go to
supposed
the
to do a
court date.
background
Now
check,
they're
and they
here
didn't do any
illegally.
background check.
No, it's
So
not
they
even that they
pulled
don't
them
go
out
to
of
the
the
court
No,
there,
country.
Jonathan. It's that they don't have
So
enough
they're
judges
not
to
supposed to be here.
process these people in a timely manner. That's
Well,
one of
They're
the
not
hold
issues
supposed
on,
to
that
be
was
here.
trying to be addressed in the bill. They need to hire more immigration judges to adjudicate these cases, more timely. That's one of the issues because some of these guys are waiting here 2 years, 3 years, undocumented. The case haven't
But
been
they're
heard
supposed to be in
because
their
there's a
country.
large backlog.
well,
That's
this
one of
Supposed
the
to be.
Yeah,
They're
issues.
supposed to
so
wait
true.
in their country. I don't care where you come from. You
I
wait
mean,
in your
Brendan,
country until
Brendan,
you get approved by
Brendan,
background check.
Bro,
Then
I
you want to
came
go
here
back
on
to
a
your country.
diversity visa, right? Other people came here through refugees. Other people came in this country through asylum. So people come into this country in different ways. Just because you came in one way doesn't mean people that can't come into the United States using asylum or using refugee status or other means. So
well,
I'm
There's
not
a
I'm
lot of
not I'm
people
not
that's
telling
in
you that
time
people
Brendan,
don't need to be
that
here.
their life
If
is
they
not in
come in
danger.
legally and they
Number
gain a
one, if it
status in
was
this country,
legal, we would know that
fine.
Brendan,
your life was in danger. Your life is
Brendan,
not in
bro,
danger. You're just trying to
Brendan,
get
Brendan,
over here. I want to hear that
Brendan.
shit.
Most immigrants are not
Br-
committing the crimes in America. Is mostly there are Americans that are committing
We
the most
don't
crimes.
hold,
So
hold,
care.
hold,
They
Dre,
are a
Dre,
drain on the resource. We don't care if they're committing crimes or not. They are draining the resources. Period. And they
so
got
Dre,
to
you don't
go.
think that
And
some of them
thank
are at
God
Dre,
least
for
trying
Dre,
to
Texas.
Dre,
get to
Let me
America?
Dre.
tell you how this became an issue, though, bro. All Texas did was ship all of our illegals to these blue states who think like you, who say, oh, these immigrants, they're all peaceful, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we shipped them to your sanctuary city places, and y'all saw how they drain your resources,
Yes,
how they're getting
That
all the
was a,
benefits,
that was a smart
housing,
leader.
cash cards, things like that, while the
yes.
citizens are failing. That's why it's a problem. We can't take care of these people. That's the issue. I don't care if they're not committing crimes. They're draining our resources and they gotta
You
go.
can't. That's
Legal immigration also drain resources too.
I agree with that
Yep.
too.
Should they stop legal immigration?
So are you saying
No,
that legal
no,
immigration
no.
should be
Hold on,
also
hold
outlawed?
on. No. This. Let me say this, gentlemen. The at the end of the day, this whole immigration thing is a huge problem, legally, illegally. The problem is how do we move forward and solve it, right? What we've known, let me say this, I have never seen this type of social experiment for illegal immigrants. To not only allow the illegals to come in, I'm not talking about the legal ones that went through the process, I'm talking about the illegal ones, and not only allow them in illegally, but to sponsor them with free shelter, food, some sort of stipends.
Exactly.
This is where
That's
it gets
that's
out
a
of
that's an oxymoron of a statement.
That's the issue right there.
If
that
these
is
people are in here illegally, they can't give them any kind of any
no
kind of
Yeah,
Elvis.
that's
benefit.
true.
The,
That's
They
the
true.
are. Elvis,
people,
are
Elvis,
you paying
the
attention to
Elvis,
Sprouts?
hold
Man,
on,
come on,
guys.
serious.
Don't
Hold on,
jump on
It's
what I'm
Elvis,
illegal.
saying.
Elvis,
It's illegal
Elvis. Let me
for
finish my
illegal
statement.
immigrants to get food stamps.
Elvis, let me
It's
finish
not
my
Right.
something.
I don't
Elvis.
think you
Those
need
are
to
Hold
people
use
on.
who are
illegal
seeking
system,
asylum.
man.
They're here
Hey,
legally. The asylum seeking is a legal
Elvis,
policy in the United States.
Elvis. Let me give you a better breakdown. The fact that you have the CB1 app to me is, and I'm just telling you from what I see, it is not regulated. I can come here from China, say my name is Juan from El Salvador, put a fake alias, and basically once I get
Not
to the
being
board,
properly regulated and being illegal are two
no,
different
no, no,
things.
no, brother, you're
Let's
not
not
listening to me.
conflict the
Hold
two.
on, no, it's not about conflicting because at the end of the day, this is my profession. I'm telling you the flaws that are going on in the system.
And that's what I'm saying. There are
No, no, let me
flaws,
finish.
and then there are
Hold on, hold
legalities.
on. But you're trying to get into minutia. At the end of the day, it's still a big issue. The fact that I'm not against the issue of people legally filing their paperwork and going through that process. The problem I have is when you have illegals who make up fake aliases. You already see the executive branch cutting down resources. They get in, and all of a sudden they can come to Massachusetts for a perfect example. You don't know who they are, and they can remember what's this? It's called a shelter state. They can come in, apply for all these benefits with a fake alias, and they automatically cut them checks.
Let me ask you a question, and then we can cut the whole thing. Do you
And
believe
then
that people seeking asylum in this country, the asylum seeking process, do you think that's legal or illegal?
No, I don't think that's illegal. But I'm not
Okay.
talking about. Hold
Thank you.
on. Hold on.
can I say
Let me make
something
this.
and I'll
Hold on.
drop off?
Let me make this clear.
And I've
I
got the
am
mayor.
not talking about those individuals. I am talking about, just like I gave you a perfect example. You got a brother from Africa with a Chinese kid saying that's my son.
Oh
You
yeah,
look through
that's
his,
illegal,
hold
but
on,
that's
let me
not the vast majority of
that's
the people that's coming
no,
through the
brother,
border.
hold on, brother. Let me make it clear to you because you're not in this field. There is a large majority of them that are trafficking crazy drugs through the United States. They're backpacking. They're getting paid. There are a lot of illegals who are getting shipped by cartels, whatever, saying if you need to do XYZ, it is happening. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. But this is the dark side of America. The sex trafficking is crazy. The
Bro,
illicit stuff is
I agree
crazy.
with you on that point.
But
Anybody who
guess
enters
but guess what?
illegally and not through a point of
Yeah, but
entry are
but
illegal and should be
no,
deported.
but
I
this
agree
is
with you
what no,
100%.
Elvis, but you're trying to deny the
But
fact that
asylum seekers are
no,
legally in the country.
Elvis,
That's the point.
this is not what we're not talking about that. I am talking about the illicit activity that is ballooned, and this is why you have so many problems. Texas alone is facing so many problems because at the end of the day, this is not. And I agree with Trump on this. You're not getting the best of the best. I can tell you from all the times we're booking people, you don't even know where they're from. They get into car accidents. Even in Massachusetts, they're getting all these stipends. They're creating certain behavior crimes. Man, it's sad. My parents are immigrants, but I can tell you, the stuff that's coming in now, that ain't the generation my parents came from. A lot of people are abusing the system.
Most immigrants are not bringing drugs over here. It's actually American citizens bringing drugs over here more
No, brother.
from the
We're not
Mexican
talking.
border.
No, brother.
Mexican
Yeah,
You're
Mexican border.
what you're saying, bro? I agree. There are people who are
Illegal.
trafficking, people who are bringing
You
drugs
guys
through the
have
border illegally.
let me
100%, I agree. They should be prosecuted and deported.
let me pass it to
That's
Miriam.
not
Go
the
ahead, Miriam.
majority.
Go ahead, Miriam. Go ahead,
Okay,
Miriam.
I don't want illegal immigrants in the country, especially now. I feel like we need every penny we need to keep it within. But I see that we focus a lot on the immigrants and they come in and why did but I'm saying I think there's someone on the other side that's benefiting from all them coming in, and we should explore why to nip that at the bud, both sides, not just stop them from coming in, but figuring out who is pulling them in, you know what I mean? But
Can,
anyway, but
can
for
I
the record, I don't agree with the illegal immigrants.
can I say this? And I'll be honest, I'm gonna post this in the back chat. One of the things I don't know people don't realize. General Kelly Flynn? Correct me if I'm saying him correctly. Do you know he sits on a board that basically houses immigrants? One of the reasons why within that whole uh, cabinet why they hate Trump so much. When you look at the details, and this is from one of my military friends who told me this, that General Kelly is basically getting paid to house these immigrants on the border, and I'm gonna post it in the back chat, through this entire time when the border crisis is through the roof. So this man is not only serving in the cabinet, but also double dipping off taxpayer dollars. So when you're asking me who benefits, that's the crony chaos that people don't realize that is happening. So when I hear these things where Trump is XYZ, if you knew how deep and corrupt some of this stuff is, you'd be like, okay, I see. This is why I rock with Trump, because if you shut it down, that means you shut off all these people, these contracts that are going on behind the scenes to keep this charade going on.
All right. Yeah. Anybody else want to add anything? Then we'll close out. All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty Search for Huru. Peace.